CFAX Victoria,
an iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. It is 6 o'clock on Wednesday, July 29th. It's going to be clearing up as we get into the day. Right now sitting at 14 degrees. I'll get your full forecast in a moment. Right now, let's say good morning to Lisa Best.
Thank you, Ryan, and good morning. We begin with City Hall, where Victoria City Hall will be dealing with 4 separate motions brought forward by Councillors Toro. They include Krista Loughton, who wants the city to set up a by-name list for every individual experiencing homelessness locally, a report on its status monthly. In the notice of motion, she says the list would allow decision makers to evaluate system performance, identify bottlenecks, and allocate resources where they'll have the most immediate impact. Meantime, Mayor Alto and Councillor Dave Thompson want to go ahead and send a letter to the Federal Minister of Public Safety and the Provincial Minister of Public Safety to improve and expand the Fugitive Return Program. That's a story that we brought you earlier this week here on CFAX. They say in Victoria there's 80 fugitives living here locally with warrants identified in the last 6 months of 2026, the first 6 months, that is. Of those 80 people, 31 meet the criteria for consideration to potentially be returned, several involving several charges, serious charges like sexual assault or assaulting a police officer, but to date, 0 have been returned. A suspect is doing apparently a fair amount of shopping at Home Depot and Dunkin', enough for them to put it on the radar and put it on social media looking for this person. He didn't pay for his purchases when he left. RCMP say the man was involved in 2 separate thefts, first on July 15th, then the 17th, leaving a Frigidaire stainless steel French door, a style refrigerator, a Samsung range, and electronic tools. He got out the door with all of those. He's described as a white male between 55 and 70 with a large build, and he was driving a 4-door gray SUV that could have been a Range Rover. Vancouver police say a rider was caught speeding on an e-scooter. He was fined for operating a motor vehicle without a license and insurance because the speed he was doing made him not street legal. Officers say the rider wasn't wearing the appropriate helmet either, didn't have proper brakes, and was streaming on their video or online when their phone was hooked up. Under the provincial pilot program, riders have to have licenses or insurance, provided the e-scooter meets the requirements for POW to maximum speed. In this case, the rider was doing 65 when they clocked him, which is 40 more of what's allowed. You're allowed to do 25. When you ride faster than that, your scooter is then classified as a motor vehicle. So the rider was fined more than $1,000 in total. We're going to hear from the DFO's Paul Cottrell. He'll be live on CFAX at 7:20 to talk about 11 great whale deaths in the waters off our island this year. But researchers do fear the real number is higher because many are just lost at sea. Now, the World Wildlife Fund estimates only about 75 southern resident killer whales remain in the Salish Sea around us. Researchers project the population could disappear within the next century. So if you're feeling energetic, there's an annual fundraiser for the World Nature Conservation Day happening October 24th at BC Place. If you want to participate in the annual World Wildlife Fund Climb for Nature, you'll do a lap around the stadium, but not a run. You'll be climbing up and down the stairs between the seating sections to get it done. Canadian trade officials say this is a big week as negotiators are back in Washington for talks with U.S. counterparts. CTV's Rachel Ello has the latest on those trade talks and the U.S. president's latest comments about them.
Mexico and Canada need us. We don't need them. The deal is important for them. It's not important for us.
This declaration prompting new questions about Canada's ability to get the Americans to make a deal. Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc and this country's chief trade negotiator are back down in D.C. this week, but won't say who they're meeting with. Asked to respond to Trump saying the U.S. doesn't need Canada, the minister's spokesperson said, quote, "We will not comment on that."
This is the first time trade officials are meeting stateside since Donald Trump's latest 50% tariff threats on Canada were made. Those tariffs, if they happen, will come on somewhere around August 19th. And Premier David Eby is defending a cabinet split over the expansion of the Tilbury LNG site in Delta. Now, Eby says he helped Emergency Management Minister Kelly Green draft a statement opposing the project near her Richmond area riding. The province has exempted the expansion from a certificate requirement by the BC's Utility Commission, clearing the way for 1,100 construction jobs and $260 million in tax revenue. Royal Roads political expert David Black says it's an unusual break in cabinet solidarity, but Eby's also trying to support his environmental base. We're going to hear more on this with Emergency Preparedness Minister Kelly Green. She's going to be live on the show later this hour at 6:50. And that is your news to 6:05. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We're asking, do you think municipal, provincial, and federal governments are doing enough to fight wildfires? 57% say no. You can vote now at CFAX1070.com, also in the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa Best, your news time is 6:06.
Thank you, Lisa. We've got 14 degrees right now at the Victoria International Airport. It's already a little sunny out there. However, text from Cowichan Valley says, good morning from the Cowichan Valley, where it is 9.5 degrees Celsius, and our furnace is on. It's a sunny morning, though. Thank you for checking in.
Kind of tragic.
I know, yeah. It's
July.
It's no good when the furnace kicks in. But hey, it's going to warm up a bit as the day goes on, and we'll get you that full forecast in a moment. Right now, over to the sports. We'll start in baseball. Victoria Harbour Cats opened up their 3-game set with a narrow 6-5 victory over Port Angeles at Wilson's Group Stadium, Royal Athletic Park yesterday. They'll play the second of 3 tonight, back at the same place. For the majors, the game was delayed 67 minutes by rain, and Shane Bieber never really got going. The Blue Jays starting pitcher and former Cy Young Award winner gave up 6 walks and 4 runs and never made it out of the first inning as Toronto dropped an 8-6 decision to the host Washington Nationals in the opener of their 3-game set yesterday. Canada will be aiming to increase its medal collection today at the Commonwealth Games as it heads into Day 6 in Glasgow, Scotland. Canada now has 35 medals, including 13 gold, 10 silver. The 13 gold medals place the nation second in the standings, and we added a silver just recently because of Victoria's Michael Barber. He won the silver medal in the men's T20 1500-meter final at the Commonwealth Games. And that is your CFAX 1070 Sports to 6:08. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. I'm going to start with BC Ferries because yesterday, during the morning show here, it was fairly uneventful. But as the day went on, a lot of sailing waits yesterday. We're kind of getting into that time ramping up towards a long weekend where BC ferries are going to get busy. Like right now, though, things are fine. 7 o'clock sailing from Swartz Bay to Swassen, about 50% full. No sailing waits, but if I scroll ahead into the day, the 4 p.m. sailing is already fully subscribed. And then the 5 o'clock sailing is 92% full. The 6 o'clock sailing, 95% full. So a lot of reservations into the later part of the day. People traveling a lot in the afternoon. So I guess just heads up that busy afternoons are now here heading towards this BC Day long weekend at BC Ferries. But right now, you're fine. For the roads, it's looking very uneventful. No crashes, no major volume delays from the West Shore into Victoria. And our major routes otherwise are looking good. For the weather forecast, mainly cloudy today to start, although we're already starting to see some sunshine, and it's going to get more sunny as the day goes on, as things kind of clear up. Highs of 21 degrees expected. Tonight, a few clouds, lows to 13. Tomorrow, another sunny day. Friday, a sunny day as well. We've got those showers coming Saturday still. That's still in the forecast, but it doesn't last much longer than that. It seems to clear up on Sunday. On the markets, North American stock markets will be opening a little later this hour, so let's take a look at how yesterday closed with Aaron Sousa.
Canada's main stock index drove further into record territory yesterday. Toronto's S&P TSX was up 181 points to 35,749. In New York, the Dow was up 537 and the Nasdaq was down 55. In Tokyo this morning, the Nikkei fell by 930 and the Hang Seng in Hong Kong gained 497. Our dollar is trading overseas at 70 and 96 cents US. A special meeting on the Gordie Howe Bridge today. The meeting comes as Ottawa faces questions about its revenue-sharing agreement with the U.S. A brief strike by WestJet cabin crew would cost the airline millions. That's according to aviation expert John Graddock. Roughly 4,400 flight attendants could walk off the job as early as Sunday if a new deal isn't reached. And the CNE job fair kicks off at the Enercare Centre in Toronto today. Officials say they have so far received nearly 50,000 applications. Last year's job fair drew thousands amid high youth unemployment in Ontario. From the Canadian Press Business Desk, I'm Aaron Sousa.
In the kitchen, in the car, and at the office. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Take us with you. Listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for joining us here on Wednesday as we get the thing kicked off on a Wednesday in Victoria on Vancouver Island. And how you doing, Lisa?
I'm doing just fine, Ryan.
So I was reading the weather forecast and mentioning that we've got, a bit more rain maybe coming at us on Saturday. Could even start Friday night, which for Victoria, it's actually in some cases nice. Keep things damp, maybe keep fires away.
No, right now we're feeling that it could get all out of its system during the week and give us a nice long weekend.
That'd be better.
But that's not necessarily how it's going to play out.
But it's such a different story when you head a little further up the West Coast to the West Coast Trail area between, Ucluelet and Tofino, where the rain is not just sort of a nice little, it's nice to put out the fires. It's been problematic for the West Coast Trail. People travel from all over the world during this window of summer to hike one of the world's greatest hiking trails all along the coast. But they are saying that parts of it are almost impassable because of how much rain they've been having. And they got more in the forecast. Like if we've got a bit of rain coming for Victoria, you can imagine Tofino's getting even more because they tend to be wetter than us. Some of the streams that sort of, cross the trail are just raging torrents right now because of all the water they've had, making it almost impassable. And the Parks Canada folks, because they run the thing.
Yes, they do.
Have you even been telling people, just don't come, don't do it, and we'll give you a full refund? Just it's not safe.
Well, with that don't come and don't do it, comes another caveat that if you come and do it, we're not necessarily going to be responsible for rescuing you. We'll rescue you, but there's been so many rescues on the West Coast trails of late in previous years because so many people have glommed onto it, wanting to do it, scratch that one off the bucket list that they said, if you get into trouble and it was your fault for not planning, we'll rescue you, but you're going to pay the price tag to that. So you do have to have caution. I mean, I know Wanafuka Search and Rescue pulled a hiker out of the East Souk Regional Park yesterday, hurt her ankle to the point where she had to be gurneyed out. They had her on a stretcher. So accidents happen and people can injure themselves. The whole point of hiking like that and hiking with that many ladders, because it's just a bevy of ladders, especially if you go from one direction to the other. There's always something can go sideways. But if you didn't practice due diligence, you didn't take care of yourself and didn't plan ahead, or if it was depending on the injury and depending on what you want out, if it's just too hard, for example, and there's just too much rain, you'll have to pay the tab. They've changed that because they just don't want to be responsible for it anymore. And it was really getting very expensive for them to have to rush out and save everybody. So it depends on the circumstances, but yes, that trail is wet on a good day.
Yeah.
Like, it's always moist.
Even in the summer, it's still a wet place. It's a rainforest.
It's
up
a
there.
rainforest.
Yeah.
So based on that, you do have to prep. And there's a lot of ladders. There's a lot of logs you have to cross, like you say, over streams that are now sort of torrential running water.
Yeah.
So, yeah, do caution. Like, if you can postpone it, so be it. But I understand some people, they've got it booked, got to do it. What's it? Buyer beware?
Yeah, well, I was CTV Vancouver Island's Anna McMillan did a story on this yesterday. I was watching it, and she was interviewing these folks who've come from, again, all over the world.
Yes.
The gathering in Victoria, where they've flown into to get on the bus and take the 5-hour plus journey in, and they're about ready to go. And now they're hearing that, what do you mean I have to cancel? I've come all this way. And quite a few people were willing to risk it. They were saying, well, I'm going to go try it, and if I can't cross the river, I guess I won't cross that bridge when I get there. Literally, but it's an interesting moment for the West Coast Trail here on Vancouver Island. What else is going on? Here's Lisa with the news.
Interesting on the roads, too. BC Highway Patrol is reminding drivers to stay sober behind the wheel in advance of the long weekend. Police say enforcement efforts in a single week this month in Dawson Creek and Fort St. John saw 18 vehicles impounded, with several roadside prohibitions and speeding infractions laid out, too. Sergeant Michael McLaughlin's up Highway Patrol say these results from small teams of officers showing people that drinking and driving is still dangerous. He says BC Highway Patrol is issuing an advance warning ahead of the weekend to deter people from doing this behavior. Locally, I know police are out on the roads too doing road checks, and it may not be in a place or time that you're expecting it, which is the whole point of the exercise. WestJet says passengers with flights scheduled any time between tomorrow and Tuesday can make a one-time change or cancel it with no fee as flight attendants' strike deadline looms. Some 4,400 WestJet flight attendants could be hitting the picket lines as soon as Sunday. The negotiations continue to hammer out a new contract since cabin crew voted 99% in favor of a strike mandate this month. Past airline labor standoffs have prompted a ramp-up in flight cancellations a couple of days prior to the strike, but there must be a 72-hour warning from the union, so we'll keep you posted as that timeline ticks down. And new reports suggest it's getting more expensive for Canadian companies to tackle data breaches because of the multifaceted approach required. The IBM reports says Canadian organizations have paid an average of over $7 million per breach so far this year, with the average data breach exposing over 28,000 records. IBM security leader Chris Sicard says business interruption, recovery efforts, customer communications, legal and regulatory obligations, plus the impact on day-to-day operations can really mount up in cost. IBM also found that energy companies had the highest average breach costs in Canada at over $9 million per incident, followed by tech firms and industrial organizations. That is your news to 617.
Let's remind people that the CFAX 1070 meat draw for Glenwood Meats is continuing this week, and I've already got somebody texting me a number. So here's how it works.
It's nice, but
it's good that you're excited, but don't text me yet because we won't take the numbers until we've actually drawn the real number. And here's how it works. So we've got the proverbial little ball machine here.
Correct.
That will pull a ball out. It'll give me a number between 1 and 100, and we're going to do it around 8 o'clock. This is when we draw the number. And once we've drawn the number, you got to text me at 71010 what you think the number is. It's a guess. And the first person to get the right number will get a call from us and get $100 from Glenwood Meats just in time for the BC Day long weekend.
beautiful.
That's
Barbecue.
how the meat draw works. So stand by. 8 o'clock is when we're going to do that. But I'm so excited that you're so excited and texting me already at 71010. We'll take a quick break. Traffic and weather next. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. Hey, something to watch out for as the day goes on is the city of Victoria using smoke to test the sewer system in certain neighborhoods. They were doing the Bamfield Park neighborhood yesterday. Today, they're shifting over to Rock Bay, and they'll be doing that for a couple of days in the Rock Bay neighborhood. So I don't know if this is necessarily going to cause huge traffic problems, but you might see smoke pouring out of some of the streets. And if you do, quite possibly just the smoke testing. Hopefully, fingers crossed. No problems on the roads right now. The congestion's pretty light from the West Shore into Victoria as we speak. The BC Ferry situation is good, but I'll say again, it is busier later in the day. Like right now, there's no sailing waits from Swartz Bay to Swassen, but there's already a sailing wait at 4 p.m. today because the afternoon side of things, kind of once the work hours are over, kind of 4 o'clock onwards, getting very busy. So just heads up if you're planning to travel later. It was like that yesterday as well. In the weather forecast, mainly cloudy for the start, but we're going to get the skies clearing up more so as the day goes on. Highs of 21 degrees. Few clouds overnight, lows to 13. Still a bit of wind blowing. Yesterday got quite blustery at times if you're right by the water, and that might be the story again today. Tomorrow it's sunny with a high of 21. Friday sunny with a high of 22. Showers kicking in on Saturday, but hopefully clearing up into a mix of sun and cloud for the other half of the weekend on Sunday. Right now it's 13 degrees.
Ryan and Lisa. Mornings on CFAX 1070. Remember, you have us in the palm of your hand. For listeners on the go, listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
By the way, quick jet lag report as I return from Europe.
Yeah, where are we at?
So I was away for a couple of weeks.
Scale of 1 to 10?
It's funny because Monday was like a 1. If 10 is great and 1 is
Okay.
bad.
That's what I was wondering.
Yesterday, I was feeling great. I was like at a solid 6, I would say.
Okay.
I think I've gone back a bit, though.
You regressed?
I'm
Okay.
like at a 3 or 4 today.
It's kind of like the second day after the
Yeah,
workout.
exactly. Yeah, precisely. But anyways, I'm powering through, and I'm still trying to catch up on all of the news I missed over the 2 weeks I was away.
Which is tough. There was a lot happening.
And I keep, as the days go on, I keep stumbling into a conversation where somebody talks about something and I have no idea what they're talking about. Kind of like this morning when you mentioned there was an update to a story and I said, "What are you talking about?"
Right.
What were you talking about?
Well, I mentioned the word Jimothy.
Jimothy. I don't know about
Right?
Jimothy.
The name Jimothy. Well, that's apparent because Ryan just got a blank look on his face. I'm like,
what?
wow, it's rare that Ryan is actually living under a rock. In
Yeah.
fact, he never resides there. He's up to date on everything,
Not this one.
but not Jimothy. So, okay. So all you have to do is put Jimothy in and Google it.
Okay, should I?
And he comes up, yeah. So let's just do that first.
Yeah, okay.
Just put the word Jimothy, and it's a mashup, of course, of Jim and Timothy. Where he got the name, I'm actually not sure. Could have been his rock band.
Oh,
So it's a raccoon.
it's the weirdest looking raccoon.
Correct.
What?
So he's a round, short-spined raccoon. He's like compact, basically. That's what I'm calling him. A compact trash panda from Seattle, Washington.
Oh.
He has gained fame worldwide, and throughout Seattle, where he resides, people post videos of him. Jimothy was in my backyard. I asked Jimothy if he wanted to borrow my car. I gave Jimothy a three square meal. It's all Jimothy in Seattle. They have latched onto this little fur ball in a big way. The veterinarians say it's a rare congenital short spine syndrome, but we just say he looks darn cute. So he has inspired murals, tattoos, various forms of art, a cameo appearance of a look-alike mascot at a Seattle's Mariners game.
They made a mascot of him?
Yes.
Oh, my
Oh,
gosh.
people have gone, they've done costumes, they've done piñatas of him. So last week, some of the Mariners players actually wore custom Jiminy T-shirts that were made during their batting practice ahead of the game against the Rangers. So now, of course, the team's going to capitalize on this. They're taking a deep dive into the Jimothy PR tank. And I know you're still looking them up.
Sorry,
you can't
I'm just now I'm looking at the mascot.
Right? I was the same. I couldn't believe that this little raccoon could inspire everybody so much. So next Wednesday at T-Mobile Park,
Yeah.
they're having a special Jimothy night. And fans that buy through the tickets special link on the team site will get a T-shirt, Mariners and Jimothy T-shirt. The first 20,000 fans that show up will score this exclusive Jimothy rookie card. So adding to all the swag that he's got, now he has a rookie card. And several of them are chase cards. So 1 gold, 1 in 100 gold. There'll be silver. There'll be 1 in 500 shiny blue, and 1 in 2,000 numbered. So there'll actually be collector cards of this little raccoon wearing the Mariners hat.
Wow. Okay. So Jimothy.
You can get Jimothy mugs, Jimothy T-shirts, Jimothy ball caps.
And this all just happened while I was away?
Yes.
So
and because someone spotted him and they put him online, and that was it. It just went viral because he is cute.
Oh, yeah.
And we don't normally see raccoons as, okay, they're just, they're part of the urban culture. They clean up after us. And sometimes they get into trouble. And maybe he does, but he is cute because of a spinal problem, but he just looks compact. So I call him the compact trash panda. And stranger than fiction, right? You're still looking at it. I can tell you're still looking at the photos. Yeah.
I want to tell you something. When you Google search Jimothy and you hit enter, a cartoon Jimothy runs across your screen.
Oh, they've even gone that far.
They've even done that. Google has gone and done an animation for this.
Everybody's capitalizing on it.
Okay, well, I'm really glad you caught me up on Jimothy because I had no idea.
Of course. I saw that look on your face, and it was very sweet because I'm like, wait a minute, you have been away. See, all the politics and all of the strife that's going on in the world, people just need a break. And for Seattle anyways, that's it. But it was Steve last week that just kept saying, look, we'll get you on the Coho, we'll get you on the Clipper, we'll get you a ticket, we'll set you up Lux. Come on over and do it, autograph signing at the Inner Harbor. He had it all mapped out.
I wonder if this is like new tourism for Seattle, if people are
100%.
going to be traveling to Seattle specifically to seek out Jimothy, the strange little round raccoon.
Maybe if you say he has healing properties or something, maybe that will have something to do with it. But the fact that the Mariners have capitalized on that, I think it's really smart.
All right, so that's the update. The Mariners are going to have a big old Jimothy event. When did you say it was?
Next Wednesday. If you get your tickets, you get a T-shirt, 20,000. They're making 20,000 T-shirts of this raccoon just for this game. So someone, somewhere, will be dressing up as Jimothy for Halloween.
Well, there you go. Thanks for catching me up on that, and we'll see what else I've missed. We'll keep discovering these little things. We'll take a break. 6:30 News next with Lisa.
This summer, 3 of Vancouver Island's biggest voices are coming together to make a real difference.
Get your tickets now for the Kids Count Mega Summer 50/50.
Brought to you by 107.3 Virgin Radio, CFAX 1070, and CTV.
In support of CFAX Santa's Anonymous all-new Kids Count program, supporting children beyond Christmas.
The Mega Summer 50/50.
Your chance to win big while giving back.
Buy your tickets today at CFAX1070.com.
Gaming event license 174660. CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, 6:30 on Wednesday, July 29th. It's going to clear up as the day goes on. We're already seeing a bit of sunshine this morning. It's 13 degrees. Full forecast to come right now. The news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
The skies look pretty clear across our region this morning. The smoke from wildfires burning on the mainland and into the U.S. is actually going east or staying central for the moment. So we'll let you know if that changes. But for right now, it looks like really low smoke damage in our area. The BC wildfire update has 136 fires burning, 52 considered out of control. There's been 16 new starts in the last 24 hours. The 3 fires that are considered still burning on Vancouver Island are either still being held or under control, so crews making good work of that. We're going to hear from Forest Minister Ravi Parmar. He'll be live at 7:50 to talk about the state of wildfires in BC, evacuations, what Clinton is looking like, and crew reinforcements coming here from the Yukon, Alberta, and Mexico to help battle our fires. Prime Minister Mark Carney is headed to Alberta today.
Carney is set to make a joint announcement with Alberta Premier Danielle Smith in Red Deer. The two are expected to outline a new joint program to accelerate home building. Carney's itinerary says he will also tour a housing site, visit a canola farm, and meet with farmers. Housing is a priority for Carney's Liberal government. Ottawa announced yesterday it would work with the Northwest Territories government to build at least 560 affordable housing units. Aaron Sousa, The Canadian Press.
A new report suggests data breaches are becoming more costly for Canadian companies.
Research from tech giant IBM suggests Canadian organizations paid an average of $7.11 million per data breach this year, up from $6.98 million covering the same period studied last year. The average breach exposed 28,500 records, up 8% from last year, and it took 6% longer, or an average of 205 days, to detect and contain that breach. IBM's security leader, Chris Sicard, says it's getting more expensive to tackle the breaches because doing so involves business interruptions, customer communications, and legal and regulatory obligations. Karen Rebo, The Canadian Press.
To Japan now, where at least 13 people are confirmed dead after that powerful earthquake rocked the southern part of the island nation on Tuesday. Japan's public broadcaster NHK citing remarks from the Prime Minister.
Some 300,000 people told to evacuate because of aftershocks. Tens of thousands are without power. Homes pancaked. Rescuers picking through what's left. Other buildings are still burning, smoke billowing into the air. Japan's prime minister warning of the risk of more building collapses and possible landslides.
Canadian trade officials are refusing to respond to the U.S. president's latest comments on CUSMA. At an interview on Fox News yesterday, Donald Trump was asked about his feelings on the renewal of that trade pact.
I don't care. I mean, I don't really want to. I'd rather be independent. Here's the thing. Mexico and Canada need us. We don't need them. The deal is important for them. It's not important for us.
Officials remain in Washington for trade negotiations this week, but notably haven't confirmed exactly who they will be meeting with. The U.S. Senate committee today questioning Dr. Anthony Fauci, accusing the former head of the COVID response effort of misleading Americans about the source of the virus and lying to Congress. And Fauci is denying this.
Newly released excerpts from Fauci's personal diary were allegedly unearthed by current Health Secretary RFK Jr. Senator Paul has released what he says are key passages, including a section from January 2020 where Fauci seemingly admits he knew the virus did not originate in the Wuhan, China wet market. Fauci has consistently said the so-called spillover theory, that the virus passed naturally from animals to humans, is the most likely origin of the pandemic.
And on the road, there's a major recall involving 500,000 Ford SUVs.
The owners of more than 560,000 Ford Bronco and Bronco Raptors are being notified about a safety recall tied to a possible engine compartment fire. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says the wiring in 2021 through 26 models may short circuit. If that occurs, drivers may first get a dashboard alert or see smoke coming out of the vents before flames appear on the passenger side of the engine compartment. Ford says only about 1% of the recalled vehicles are affected and that it will install new covers on the wiring at no cost. I'm Daria Albinger.
And that's your news to 6:35. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We're asking, do you think municipal, provincial, and federal governments are doing enough to fight wildfires across Canada? 57% say no. You can vote at CFAX1070.com and also on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best, your news time, 6:36.
Hey, thanks, Lisa. Let's take a quick look at the weather, where we're going to see clearing skies and a high of 21 today. Right now it's 13. Wait to a full forecast in a moment. Right now, over to the CFAX 1070 Sports, where in baseball, Victoria Harbour Cats opened up a 3-game set against the Port Angeles Lefties with a 6-5 victory at Wilson's Group Stadium, Royal Athletic Park last night. The two teams go at it for Game 2 tonight. For the Toronto Blue Jays and the Majors, they will wrap up a 3-game series today against the host Washington Nationals. Looking to win the rubber match, right-hander Trey Savage will be on the mound for the Jays, who won Monday's opener 3-3, but then lost last night 8-6 after a rain delay. We will watch and see what happens there. The Seattle Mariners defeated the Los Angeles Dodgers 7-6 in a come-from-behind victory. The Canadian squad at the Commonwealth Games, aiming to ever increase their medal count today as they head into Day 6 in Glasgow. Canada now has 35 medals, 13 are gold, 10 are silver. And with 13 gold medals, because the medals are weighted differently, so it's not just about pure medal count. If you add up the metrics that way, we end up second in the standings, which is pretty cool. Australia tops the table with 35 medals and 35 gold medals and 80 overall. England has 10 golds and 43 medals overall. We added to the medal count this week with a guy from Victoria, Michael Barber, who won the silver medal in the men's T20 1500-meter final at the Commonwealth Games. So another Islander doing great. So congratulations to Michael Barber. That's your CFAX 1070 Sports, 6:39. CFAX 1070 Morning Show brought to you by Bluebird Cabs. Need a cab? Download the new Bluebird Cabs app at Bluebird Cabs Ltd. They're proudly local and Canadian-owned and run since 1946. Hey, see a problem on the road? Text me at 71010. Right now it's looking very clear. No major crashes or problems. The commute down the Trans-Canada Highway from the West Shore in towards Victoria, it's slow going through the construction zone. So we are seeing volume delays build up there, but it's mostly just people taking their time and going the speed limit for this bus widening project there on the TCH. For the rest of the major routes, Pat Bay Highway, Malahat, everything is clear. BC Ferries, we've got a 7 o'clock sailing coming up with lots of room left. It doesn't get really busy until later today. For instance, I keep saying this, the 4 p.m. sailing already full. It's the afternoon that is going to jam up, I think, at least from the look of it right now. For the weather forecast, it is mainly cloudy to start, but we're already seeing the clouds break and some sunshine come through. That'll just increase as the day goes on. We'll get sunnier as the day goes. Highs of 21, lows of 13 tonight. Mainly sunny for Thursday and Friday with temperatures in the low 20s. And then that rain coming in Saturday. Doesn't last too long. It should be clear by Sunday. On the markets, Canada's main stock index drove further into record territory yesterday. Yeah, we'll take a look at how things closed off yesterday as we await today's first results, with the opening bells just ringing for North American stock markets. Toronto's S&P TSX Composite Index gained 181 points to close at 35,749. In New York, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 537, ending the day at 52,747. The Nasdaq gave back 55 points to close at 24,876. Canadian dollar trading overseas this morning at 70.94 cents US, which is in the ballpark of where it was yesterday.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Oversleepers, catch all the highlights on the latest audio podcast at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
Well, we continue to watch the wildfire situation in BC, even though it's calming down here on the island. There have, of course, been situations like in Clinton where there have been structures destroyed, people evacuated. That continues to be a thing that
I did something different the other day.
What'd you do?
I went intimate with Clinton in a sense.
Oh, really?
Google Maps is your best friend with this. It's interesting because you think of small village and you see it on the map, or maybe you look it up on the map to see what the location is, how close it is to you, where the fire is around it. And I went sort of in a deep dive, and I went on to Google Maps, and it takes you to the street.
Yeah.
I went to the streets of Clinton and looked around.
Really?
Yeah, and because it does the 360, it's really great for finding an address, but it's also really great to actually put you on the ground there.
And just get a sense of a place.
At ground zero. And
yeah.
In Clinton, interestingly enough, because the kind of village it is, there are so many old wooden structures, more than a century old, just those single sort of pioneers, single level, a lot of logs used, rough hewn, and they look like historical buildings. Just set up as general stores or, mom and pop shops, or even some of the houses, converted barns into houses, a really interesting village. And it's just really sad to see again, too, that this sort of Lytton thing is evolving. Not the same reason why, but they are surrounded by fire pretty much. And we heard yesterday from the owner of the towing company. And so I also...
Right, that was one of the structures that got destroyed, right?
Right, because it was just south of the city. Because I was looking at the fire line on Monday going, anybody south of there, it's not good. It's not pretty. And he was one of the businesses that were destroyed. But just look at that alone. He must have had probably 20 vehicles on site in various states of repair. You think of the amount of... He had a wall of tires there. He's an auto body repair shop.
Yeah.
So to take it on that intimate level really makes a difference, to realize that it's just not some village or place on a map. People's lives, people's homes, as unique they are. You'd like to think your own home is quite unique, and you certainly don't want to lose anything from it. So we do feel a lot for the people of Clinton. And, we don't want to see this happen again and again and again, as it has been year over year. So we're going to hear from Ravi Parmar to talk more about moving forward and how we can do better and how we can all get involved in some fashion for fighting this, because every year we're facing this now and the fires really aren't getting smaller.
Yeah, he's joining us next hour with just the latest on the fire situation in BC and evacuations and these kind of stories. But speaking of the evacuation part, because, clearly Clinton is one example of where this has had to happen, but it's not the only place.
No.
Now the BC government is asking people to pre-register with emergency support services. They say if you do that, it'll reduce wait times at evacuee reception centers, ensure people get the support they need. So let's talk more about that aspect of it, how the BC government is trying to manage the evacuee part of this. Kelly Green is the Minister of Emergency Preparedness as well as Climate Readiness, and she's going to be joining us on the line in just a few moments to talk about that aspect of it. One, what is the state of evacuations in BC, and what is this thing about pre-registering for the services?
It equates to money, actually. It's money in your pocket to pay for the essentials you're going to need if you're told that you have 30 minutes to leave.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what you need to know coming at you in just a moment, but right now it's the news. At 6:45, here's Lisa.
Well, let's talk about the number of fires burning in our province. We have 136 wildfires burning, 52 considered out of control, 16 new starts in the last 24 hours. 3 fires on Vancouver Island are either considered being held or under control. So crews and Mother Nature helping in both column A and column B in that department. The smoke situation, according to smokefire.ca, firesmoke.ca, it looks like the smoke once again today is going to be blown away, or at least staying central of the fires on the mainland. So it should not not be a problem here in Greater Victoria and across Vancouver Island, but if that changes, we will let you know. And of course, we do have Forest Minister Ravi Parmar coming up at 7:50 to talk about the state of wildfires and crew enforcement and how to keep yourself safe and register for emergency services. That will be next for you. In Europe, temperatures are set to soar once again in France and Spain today, increasing the threat of more wildfires and large-scale evacuations. In Spain, at least 6 regions now on orange alert, as temperatures are expected to reach 104 Fahrenheit today. That's well over 30. Authorities say the blaze east of Castellon remains out of control, burning nearly 25,000 acres as weather conditions triggered several flare-ups. And a special meeting today being held in Ottawa today to discuss the Gordie Howe International Bridge between Windsor and Detroit. The House of Commons committee today comes just 2 days after the bridge's official opening Monday, and it's expected to be more administrative in nature, this meeting. It comes as the Liberal government continues to face questions about its revenue-sharing agreement with the U.S., who gets what and who gets to pay what. And that is your news to 6:47.
We'll take a quick break. Traffic and weather coming up. If you see a problem out there, text me at 71010. I'd love to hear from you. But right now, things are looking pretty good, except BC Ferries gets a little crazy this afternoon. We'll tell you more about it next.
Where the noise stops and the conversation begins.
Hey, it's Friday. Welcome to the Graham Richardson Show.
The stories that shaped your week aren't just headlines. They are the moments we live through and the decisions that change what comes next.
Let's take a closer look at that together.
It's national conversations. From major policy shifts to the fun, unexpected trends and friends everyone will be talking about. It is intelligent, unpredictable, and completely Canadian. Stay informed. Stay ahead. The Graham Richardson Show. Friday morning at 9 a.m. right here on CFAX 1070.
Over to CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. By the way, the morning show is brought to you by Thrifty Foods, where until August 5th, you can get 600 Scene Plus points when you buy any participating cheeses and meats to build your own summer snacking bundle. Okay, on the roads, it's fine. There's really quite a calm morning out there. Volume delays are building on the West Shore commute into Victoria, but other than that, it's looking pretty typical. We will have them doing the sewer testing in the Rock Bay neighborhood today, where city crews will be out and about. They're putting smoke into the sewer system. It's going to be kind of coming up out of some places, so you might see that as you're driving around. Shouldn't cause any traffic disruptions, but just something to watch out for. And BC Ferries getting busy this afternoon. It's fine right now. No sailing waits as we speak for the morning. It's once we hit about 4 p.m. onwards. We've already got a 4 o'clock sailing wait. The 5 o'clock is 92% full. Those are just a couple of examples of how jammed it's already getting in the afternoon hours. So watch out at BC Ferries as we approach that BC Day long weekend. What's the weekend weather forecast looking like? Well, I'll get there. But first off, today it's going to clear up a bit, getting into some sunshine, highs of 21, lows of 13 tonight. Thursday, Friday looking sunny with temperatures in the low 20s, but rain coming in for Saturday. Sunday is looking like a mix of sun and cloud, and then BC Day Monday, sunny with a high of 24.
Ryan and Lisa are ready when you are.
Good morning.
Day or night, find the highlights under latest audio at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
Well, with situations happening in BC like what happened in Clinton with evacuations and buildings destroyed, BC's Emergency Management and Climate Readiness Ministry is now urging people to pre-register with emergency support services. It says it'll reduce wait times at emergency support centers. So we wanted to catch up with the minister in charge about all of this, Kelly Green, Minister of Emergency Preparedness and Climate Readiness, joining us on the line. Hello, how are you?
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Great to get you here. So, I want to talk about this pre-registering thing. But first off, can you just give me a sense of, right now in BC, given the fire circumstances, roughly how many households are under some kind of evacuation alert or order right now?
Yeah, my thoughts are with everyone who's evacuated right now. It's very difficult on people. There's a lot of uncertainty, and I just want to recognize how hard it is. We have a number of people evacuated. We're supporting about 850 households with emergency support services. That's about 1,600 people. Those numbers, though, do fluctuate. It's an evolving situation. But those are folks that we're supporting right now with accommodation, other necessities like food and clothing.
And is that sort of spread out around BC, or are a lot of those folks from that Clinton area where we've seen the real problems recently, or is that more spread out?
That's from all across BC. We certainly have more of a concentration of folks from Clinton, but there are wildfires everywhere in BC right now. So it's really important that we understand that this risk appears everywhere in BC, including Vancouver Island.
And when you talk about supporting those folks, is this just giving them accommodations and some food and clothes, or what kind of supports will the province provide?
Emergency support services is to help people who are evacuated with their essential needs. And so that would be things like accommodation, food, clothing, like I mentioned, other necessities. People might also want to see what their insurance coverage is for their home or renter insurance. It may be more comprehensive than the essential services that we provide through the province.
Now, let's talk about this pre-registering item. Is this a new thing, or is this something that's always been possible and you're just trying to remind people of it? Or why are you now urging people to pre-register with emergency support services?
We made a number of changes in recent years for emergency support services, one of them being that you can pre-register now. Pre-registration means that if you are evacuated, you don't necessarily have to go to an evacuation like a reception center. You can receive your supports without having to line up or travel in the same direction everybody else is traveling. It helps reduce those wait times at the evacuation reception centers, which helps people who need additional help, those with maybe mobility needs or that don't have access to technology. So really helps everybody. It's very easy to do. You can do it through your BC Services card app or at ess.gov.bc.ca.
Kelly, what most people want to know if they are in a pickle like this is the dollar amount. Can you give us any idea of what kind of financial support people would receive, even immediately, for essentials and things they might have forgot at home?
So the support services are for essential needs. So as I said, you might want to check with your own insurance policies to make sure that you do have coverages there. With support for accommodations, you could receive a referral to a hotel room if you're heading to a reception center, or you also now have the new option of receiving $200 per household per night for accommodation. And that means that you're now flexible to make your own choices. You can go to a hotel, you might want to stay with family or friends, or go to a campground. It's really flexible for people so that they can make the choices that work best for them.
Now, who should be signing up for this? Is it only if you are, staring down the barrel of a wildfire coming at your community that you should go and pre-register, or should anybody do this? Like, who are you trying to reach with this message?
Honestly, everybody in BC, I recommend that they pre-register for emergency support services. Emergencies can happen anytime during the year, anywhere in British Columbia. If you're evacuated for any reason, being pre-registered really helps you out. Make sure that you can get the services you need more quickly and more flexibly. And it is really easy to do on your BC Services card app or at the ESS website, ess.gov.bc.ca.
Okay, so this doesn't just have to be like a fire season thing. This could be flooding, it could be an earthquake, it could be whatever, wherever. And if you're pre-registered, it just makes it easier. Is that the message?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now is always a good time.
Okay. Well, that helps actually. So if you want to go, emergency support services, you could Google that, or you can go to ess.gov.bc.ca. Is that the coordinate?
Absolutely.
Okay, very good. There we go. We're talking to Kelly Green, Minister of Emergency Preparedness and Climate Readiness, as we head towards the long weekend and fires are burning there. That's the message. Now, we've only got about a minute left, but I got to ask you about something else because, of course, you've come up in the news over the last few days for something totally different. As you're trying to deal with this as the Emergency Preparedness Ministry, you've also had this Tilbury LNG expansion issue. We were talking about that on the show a couple of days ago, that this had kind of erupted. It's, I guess, getting passed through some usual hurdles as the BC government tries to push this thing forward. And you stood up as a cabinet minister in the BC government and opposed this move to kind of push this thing forward. It seems like the premier and the rest of cabinet are okay with this, but some people are pointing at this division in cabinet. And I just wanted to ask you how you're feeling about all of this and what made you stand up to say that you opposed the government on this.
I needed to make sure that the people in my constituency who've been raising safety concerns consistently to me knew that I was taking action and that they're being heard. I've been working with people in Richmond before I was even elected as MLA in opposition to this project. The Premier is aware of that and gave me enough room to do what I need to do, helping my constituents be heard. I appreciate the ability to do that. It's really important that I'm a strong representative for my community.
And it's been okay, though. Like the premier even came out yesterday and said, look, we're all okay here. At least that's what he said publicly. Do you feel that way behind the scenes, too?
Yeah, absolutely. We're part of a great team. There's really important work to do, like helping people get prepared for wildfire season. That work continues. It's such an honor to be able to do this. And it's also very important for me that I represent my community faithfully.
Well, thank you so much for talking about all of this with us today. And to the texter here at 71010 who says, hey, could you repeat that website, please, for pre-registering for emergency services? It's ess.gov.bc.ca. Hope that helps. Kelly Green, great to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us today. And good luck. I know we got a long weekend coming up and things are just going to get busier for you. So best of luck with it.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, we'll take a break. The 7 o'clock news coming up next.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. It's 7 o'clock on Wednesday, July 29th. Clearing skies today. Highs eventually to hit about 21 degrees. Right now it's 13. Full forecast to come right now. The news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
Thank you, Ryan, and good morning. BC Wildfire Update has 136 fires burning, 52 considered under control. The 3 fires on Vancouver Island are either considered being held or under control, so good work for crews and Mother Nature on that one. We've had some rain where we normally don't get it. That has really helped. Premier David Eby says his heart goes out to those hearing the horrible news that businesses and structures have been lost in the Clinton area. And he says government and communities will be standing with those affected during the rebuild process. He also has special praise for the work of the fire crew.
Absolutely heroic work to save what appears to be most of the community of Clinton. And we'll be looking for updates from them about impacts of the fire, but the scale and scope of the fire that they faced threatening that community and their heroism in working overnight to battle flames and preserve as much as possible was nothing short of heroic. And I want to thank them for their efforts and their continuing efforts through the rest of the fire season.
The BC Wildfire Service says about 24 firefighters from Yukon, almost 70 from Alberta are on the ground today. They arrived yesterday in BC, while another 200 staff from Mexico are due to arrive in BC early next month. We're going to hear more about those numbers and about fighting the fires that we have burning the province from Forest Minister Ravi Parmar. He'll be talking about crews coming in, and he'll be live at 7:50, so just later this hour. In Japan, 18 people now confirmed dead in Tuesday's major shaker in Japan. Laura Westbrook reports several buildings collapsed, including a shopping mall.
Shortly after the tremor, there were also reports of an explosion at the shopping mall, possibly linked to a gas leak. Officials said the second floor section of the mall had also collapsed. Rescue efforts have been continuing to try to find people who may be trapped.
The quake, initially reported as a 7.1, then later downgraded to a 6.8, had hit just as rush hour was getting underway in the country's southern Kumamoto prefecture. Thousands of soldiers have been deployed to help with the rescue efforts. Several aftershocks have been felt throughout the region, and thousands do remain without power today. The U.S. and Saudi Arabia have launched airstrikes on Iranian-backed groups in Iraq. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez reports the overnight attack comes as U.S. Central Command says Iran has launched ballistic missiles at U.S. forces in retaliation.
In an attempted surprise attack on American forces in the Middle East. Adding the missiles were successfully intercepted. Iran says it targeted U.S. forces in Jordan in response to America's, quote, hostile actions.
The strike in Iraq focused on what CENTCOM called, in a statement posted on X, terrorist logistics and weapons site. A Surfrider Foundation report shows that cigarette butts are Hawaii's most common beach litter.
Volunteers collected about 170,000 pounds of trash during 54 cleanups across Maui, Kauai, and Oahu. That accounts for more than half of the nearly 340,000 pounds collected nationwide. Surfrider says cigarette filters contain synthetic plastic fibers that break down slowly and can release toxic chemicals into the ocean. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
Elon Musk has launched a new financial service on his social media platform X. Humanoid robots are apparently expected to take over, are being banned in the U.S. And we also have news of a Pokemon company turning to facial recognition technology to stop scalpers at limited time card stores in Japan. All that news coming up. Plus, we have special guests, of course. We have Sarah Riddell, the executive director of the Shoreline Medical Society. There's a special pickleball tournament coming up in September. That's to raise funds for primary care on the peninsula. So the Shoreline Medical Clinic is launching registration for this debut pickleball tournament if you want to help. We have information coming up for you shortly. That's your news to 7:05. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We're asking about wildfires. Do you think levels of government, municipal, provincial, and federal are doing enough to mitigate the risk and fight wildfires? 57% say no. You can vote at CFAX1070.com. Also, the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa Best, your news time, 7:06.
Hey, thanks, Lisa. We're looking at a day that's going to clear up a little bit as we get into it. We're starting to see some little blue patches in the clouds. It's going to keep going that way as the day goes on. Right now we're sitting at 13 degrees. I'll get you that full forecast in just a moment. Right now, let's kick over to the sports, where in the majors, the game was delayed 67 minutes by rain, and then Shane Bieber never really got going. The Blue Jays starting pitcher and former Cy Young Award winner gave up 6 walks, 4 runs, never made it out of the first inning as Toronto dropped an 8-6 decision to the host Washington Nationals. Those two teams will go at it again tonight. Seattle Mariners defeated the Los Angeles Dodgers 7-6 in a big come-from-behind victory. And for the local baseball, Victoria Harbor Cats opened their 3-game set with a narrow 6-5 win over the Port Angeles lefties at Wilson's Group Stadium, Royal Athletic Park. Those two teams will go at it again today for the middle game of that 3-game set. Let's go to the Commonwealth Games. Canada continuing to do fairly well. Actually, this is kind of fun because you know how different medals are weighted differently. A gold is worth more than others, and so we've got 13 gold medals, Canada, so far at the Commonwealth Games. Which places our nation in the standings at second, which is kind of cool, even though we only have 35 medals compared to, say, 80 overall for Australia and 43 overall for England. We'll be trying to increase that today. And we had Michael Barber of Victoria winning the silver medal in the T20 1500 meter final at the Commonwealth Games just this week. So another Islander doing well at the Commonwealth Games. And that's your sports to 7:08. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. It's 7:09. What's happening on the roads? Well, you tell me, because as far as I can tell, things are very clear right now. I have no crashes reported, no major construction delays except for the usual slowdown on the Trans-Canada highways. You go through the ongoing bus widening project for the BC ferries. It's going to get busy later today. 4 o'clock sailing is full already. The 5 o'clock is getting full. A lot of that's reservations ahead. Right now in the morning hours, we're looking good. The 7 o'clock sailing left with room left. 8 o'clock sailing coming up still has room left from Swartz Bay to Swanson, so that's all good. It's just later today. Be warned, it gets busy. Did yesterday, too. For the weather, clearing up as we get into the day. Highs of 21. A few clouds tonight. Lows down to 13. Tomorrow, mainly sunny. Friday, mainly sunny. Both those days will be kind of consistent in the temperatures into the low 20s. Very pleasant. Rain coming in for the Greater Victoria area on Saturday, but it doesn't last too long. It should clear up for Sunday and BC Day Monday. So, long weekend ahead. 2 of the 3 days are not raining. So, it's silver linings, right? If you look at it that way. We're coming up ahead. For the markets, so we're getting our first look at how things are shaking out today. The S&P TSX starting down, dropping 216 to 35,533. The Dow is down 533 to 52,213. NASDAQ down 123 to 24,753. Canadian dollar is at 71 cents US even again. Picked up a little bit from yesterday's close.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Oh, I think it's time to check and see how the Mega Summer 50-50 is doing.
It's big.
It's the 50-50 raffle that we're doing radio station wide in support of CFAX Santa's Anonymous and their Kids Count program, which which is how CFAX Santa's Anonymous helps beyond Christmas.
Correct. All year round.
It's exciting, though, because I looked at it today, and we've hit a milestone.
That's right.
We have crossed the $10,000 mark. It's now $10,000 and $45. Sorry, let me say that again. $10,045.
Take another run at it.
Yeah.
In layman's terms, that means you put more than $5,000 in your pocket.
Yeah.
If you win.
Because it's a 50-50.
That's right.
You take half, the charity takes half. If you want to get in on this, there's still lots of time because we'll do the big draw on Friday, August 28th at 7 a.m. You've got until August 27th at 5 p.m. to buy a ticket, but don't wait because we might sell out, and you want to get in on this.
Well, there is limited amount of tickets, and also you can just sit back and watch the pot grow.
Yeah.
Thinking I bought in at $5,000, and now I might get $10,000, $20,000.
Single ticket is $10. A 5-pack for $25, a 20-pack for $50. And how do you get in on this? You go to CFAX1070.com. You'll see right there on the front is a big button, the Mega Summer 50-50. Click on that, and you'll head on over. There are some restrictions. You got to be 19 plus. You got to be in BC and all those kind of things that tend to come along with these.
Being in BC is a good part because we want to keep it local.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there you go. 50-50 is going on. That's the update. It's over $10,000
awesome.
As of this morning. Coming up next, we're going to explore a whale story. The latest numbers we have on gray whale deaths in BC waters is a total of 11 now. That's for this year, and that matches the highest annual total ever recorded for gray whale deaths. And we've been talking about this because, several times over the year when we've had these reported, we've spoken to folks like the folks at the Department of Fisheries and Oceans about what's going on here.
Well, it's also Washington State, too, because Washington State is saying they have a plethora of carcasses being found, too. The bigger picture is maybe a drop in the water, right?
Yeah.
As to how many we may have that are just lost to the ocean that we don't have any record of.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. This is just the reported ones. This is just the ones we've seen. So, yeah, how bad is this? We are going to reach out to the Department of Fisheries and Oceans Canada. Their regional marine mammal coordinator, Paul Cotterill, is going to join us. We've spoken to him a couple of times about this. I know he was mentioning a lot of it is things like, food sources kind of drying up. There's big ships and things.
Ship
noise,
activity,
all kinds of
them
things
being
going
badgered,
on.
basically.
Yeah. So what's the latest here, and what do we need to know? We're going to find out more in just a moment, but right now let's get to the news. At 7:14, a little early, but it's always the right time for news, Lisa. It's always the right time for news.
Free time.
Okay, take it away.
The FBI in Los Angeles hoping for tips to catch an alleged drug trafficker involved in a Vancouver-based organized crime group. It says Paul Singh is wanted for allegedly being involved in cocaine and methamphetamine smuggling throughout North America. Law enforcement agency says Singh was among those charged in June in a wide-ranging transnational crime investigation. The Bureau says the 30-year-old is on their most wanted list for criminal enterprise investigations. Anyone with information should contact FBI or the American Embassy. You could just call police, too. That'll do. Death toll in Japan has risen to 18 now. Rescuers continue to comb through the rubble of the earthquake that hit Monday in the country's southwest. Soldiers and emergency workers are going through the badly damaged shopping mall piece by piece and also collapsed homes looking for trapped survivors. That magnitude 6.8 earthquake hit on Tuesday. Local authorities say at least 62 people have been injured. 6 of them are serious. And a doctor bringing more awareness to the danger of skin exposure to the sun in tanning salons as being max tanned or very, very dark becomes a thing again. Professor Spencer Dunaway from the Department of Dermatology at Ohio State University thinks there is a trend for the younger generation to ignore or just not be aware of the risks of tanning and long-term radiation from UV rays. There's clear evidence that tanning at an early age will dramatically increase your risk of getting skin cancer. Premature aging is a thing, and development of sunspots pretty much a sure thing. He says tanning beds cause cancer, but evidence shows those who use them as teens are most likely to become lifelong tanners. And that is your news to 7:16.
We'll check traffic and weather in just a moment. If you got anything out there that's interrupting you, let us know at 7-10-10. We can pass it on. And we'll talk about the gray whale deaths as more of them mount. That's all coming up next. CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps. For a comfortable home no matter the season. Big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps. Designed for comfort. The South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. On the roads, things are pretty clear. No major crashes. They are doing smoke testing in the sewers of the Rock Bay neighborhoods. You might see that out and about if you're driving around Rock Bay. If smoke is pouring out of the street in front of you, don't be alarmed. It's because they're doing the sewer testing with the smoke. So that's going on in Rock Bay today.
Don't star 5555 that.
Yeah. Although they do say, they specify, like, look, if the smoke is like, dark and it smells like smoke, then you should call. Like,
if it's obviously in the wilderness,
yeah,
that's a forest fire.
But yeah, just the normal, like, light-colored, non-smelly smoke coming out of the sewers.
Non-smelly smoke.
They're doing that on purpose today in the Rock Bay neighborhood.
And why? Like, sorry, but while we're all sort of heightened for the wildfire status, let's put some smoke in the sewers. Sorry.
That's funny. I didn't put that together. That's interesting. Yeah.
Timing's everything.
Well, that's happening.
Please carry on.
For the weather forecast, it is going to be mainly cloudy to start, but we are clearing up and we're already seeing some of that right now. So expecting sunnier skies today, highs of 21, low of 13 tonight. Mainly sunny again for Thursday and Friday. Rain coming in on Saturday as we kick off the BC Day long weekend, but Sunday and Monday look like they get sunny again with temperatures in the low to mid 20s. Right now at the Victoria International Airport, it is 14 degrees.
The best way to start an island morning. Ryan and Lisa on CFAX 1070.
The latest numbers we have on gray whale deaths in BC waters is a total of 11 this year, which is matching a record, and we're only at August almost. And then scientists are pointing out that, those are just the ones that we've seen or counted. Many are left unaccounted for. What's the latest on this very fatal year? We've got Paul Cotterill, Regional Marine Mammal Coordinator with the Department of Fisheries and Oceans. He's joining us on the line right now. Paul, how you doing?
Hey, good, Ryan.
Yeah, so, okay, I just want to start with this funny story. So this is the sad story we're following. We'd scheduled to talk to you here today. But it's not all tragedy, because sometimes there are success stories. And I called you just now, and you're like, oh, I'm glad I'm still awake, because, man, did I ever have an adventure yesterday. What have you been up to?
Yeah, it was a crazy day yesterday. We've had an entangled humpback in the Salish Sea that a sat tag was on 2 days ago, and then yesterday we were able to get out in the morning and disentangle the whale and finish by just after midday. But while we were working on this whale and removing the gear, we got a call of a second entangled whale in Barkley Sound, and we were able to transition real quickly and travel over to Barkley Sound and get out, and with the help of folks that reported that, get out and disentangle that whale. So just an incredible day for us to actually disentangle two whales in one day and across two sides of Vancouver Island. So it was an amazing day, and just I can't say enough about our team getting out there and being able to do that and have two whales swimming freely now. It just feels so good.
Were they both humpbacks?
Both humpbacks, yeah. Both had tail wraps around the fluke and the peduncle, so they're always challenging. So it was just the second one, Barkley Sound, was the body condition wasn't great with the entanglement. It had been on for a while, and there was some tail fluke injuries. But we've given that animal a chance, and we didn't get in till after 12 last night, so it was a long day, and I think our bodies are a little sore today, but just totally worth it, and just an amazing day. I can't believe it.
Paul, I always think that if you ever wanted to get someone to jump on the conservation bandwagon, have them at one of these events, because the emotional aspect of it is not necessarily what you would expect. It's kind of off the hook, right?
Oh, it is. It's unbelievable. And just seeing these majestic, these are 30, 40-foot animals in this distress and, really struggling and getting in there and helping them too. And then just, with that last cut, and if you're able to remove the gear, it's amazing just how those animals react immediately. You can imagine towing around a bag of cement for a month and then cutting that free and just feeling that relief. That's, I'm sure, what they feel with that drag gone, and then they can go on and hopefully forage successfully and get back to where they were. So yeah, there's no feeling like it for sure. And then having 2 in one day, it was just wild.
Can I ask just how it goes? So, well, first off, the Salish Sea one, whereabouts in the Salish Sea was this?
Yeah, so initially the animal was satellite tagged the day before, so 2 days ago by Cetus, which was amazing, off Campbell River, kind of right in Discovery Passage. And then the weather was not great 2 days ago, so we went out yesterday. It was a bit better, and we actually located the animal between French Creek and Lasqueti Island. The weather kind of kicked down in the late morning, and we found it and were able to attach a working line and then slowly, methodically kind of work up and then get one cut off the fluke. This line was a little loose and it all came off. So it was just incredible. And I had an email just before we were able to get the gear off that, oh no, we may have another entangled whale across the island. So luckily where French Creek is, it's kind of straight across from there to Port Alberni. So we thought, we still have a few hours. Let's see if we can get over there with the boat and get in the water and work with the party that reported it, which was Rendezvous Diving Adventures in Barkley Sound, which we've worked with before with reports. They're amazing, and they were great support while we were out there.
Can I ask, so you've got, in either of these cases, you're in the boat, you're approaching the whale, it's entangled, it's in distress. How does the whale react? Is it scared of you, or does it know you're trying to help? Because I know whales are incredibly intelligent and emotional creatures. Like, do you get a sense of how they're feeling as you get involved?
In every case that I've been a part of, I've never had a whale that I think is understanding that we're helping.
Okay.
They're really agitated. They're upset. They're often injured. And they're trying to get away. They're not understanding. You really have to have the animal fairly exhausted by the time you can get close enough to make these cuts, just because they're so powerful. But immediately when the gear is cut off, you can sense that freedom they get, and then they do usually show a burst of energy and often will breach. So just, I think that relief of not having that drag is it just must be quite the sensation for these huge animals. And it's one of those things where the closer you get to the animal, the more dangerous it is. So we don't move in until the animals are their behavior is such that we can get in, because it is very dangerous.
To all the YouTube videos that we see circulating, people saving animals, whether it's a whale or a turtle, there's a caution there, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've heard the ones where the humpback raises its peck and waves at the boat as I mean, I've never experienced that, and most of my colleagues that do that with humpbacks, especially, they're usually quite agitated, and they know they're a big, powerful animal, and they're not understanding. I don't think in the cases I've been involved with, at least, that you're there to help.
I've got a listener text message here, Paul. It just simply says, it starts with thank you, so to you for the work, and I guess your crew for saving these 2 whales yesterday. And then the texter follows up with, are there openings for volunteers? If people want to get involved in this kind of stuff, can you volunteer for this kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I mean, I have an amazing team network that the BC Marine Mammal Response Network is the eyes and ears out there, whether it's the whale watch industry or, in this case, Rendezvous Diving, Cetus, Straight Watch, NGOs. And our team is quite small. You have to have a lot of experience and understanding not only of whale behavior, but also dealing with really high intense energetic situations that are extremely dangerous. Unfortunately, folks have died doing this, so we're pretty limited in who we have, and it takes years to kind of build up enough experience to help out. But we do encourage any folks that see injured, distressed, entangled marine mammals, whales, to call it in. And there's always a chance to be part of the support team or support boat, which is the safety boat, to just in case something goes wrong to help us out. And so far, we've, they're a really important part of the team too. So maybe not part of the actual removing the gear, but there are kind of opportunities for more of the support side of things and kind of more the initial reporting component. But yeah, it's pretty special. I mean, if I didn't do this, I would want to do it too. So I totally
you get it.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got Paul Cotterill here. He's Regional Marine Mammal Coordinator with the Department of Fisheries and Oceans. And what an adventure, saving 2 entangled humpback whales off the coast of Vancouver Island yesterday. Different parts of the island, same day. And obviously we had to hear that story. But the reason we got you here was some totally different reason. And I know we've run out of time, but I'm going to borrow a minute from the news, Lisa, if that's okay, and just ask you really quickly. So gray whales, we continue to follow a fatal year for gray whales. We've hit 11 so far. Scientists at DFO saying it's probably a higher number because you don't actually find all of the bodies because they tend to sink. Just give us a quick summation of where we're at right now at this point of the year.
Yeah, so last week we in Haida Gwaii, we worked with the Haida Guardians and the local fishery officers. We were up there it was our 11th necropsy, which is a record, that ties a record for 2019. And there are, as you mentioned, a few months left in kind of the end of the migration. But yeah, the animals that actually die and end up on the beaches are really a small fraction of the overall mortalities. So we've had 11, but we know there's a lot more. And it's the mortalities that we're seeing in British Columbia is also consistent with what we're seeing in Mexico, California, Oregon, and Washington State, and now Southeast Alaska as these animals are finishing their migration to the Bering and Chukchi Seas. So an alarming trend this year for sure. And we're hoping that next year we don't see the same thing because this population is definitely being impacted with this mortality event that we're seeing this year especially, but also the past few years.
Yeah, another one to add to the list, sadly. But that's the latest on the gray whale death situation. Paul Cotterill, thank you so much for being here and talking to us about all these things, and I'm sure we'll reach out again soon.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for covering it. It's much appreciated.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island. Celebrate our coast at Cadbro Bay Festival, Sunday, August 9th from 11 to 3 p.m. Victoria Symphony presents Symphony in the Summer Festival, July 10th through August 9th. Details at victoriasymphony.ca. Have an event you want featured on CFAX 1070? Text us at 71010 to be featured. Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
CFAX Victoria,
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, 7:32 on this Wednesday, July 29th. Clearing up as the day goes on right now, 14 degrees in Victoria. Full forecast to come right now. The news begins with Lisa Best.
Thanks, Ryan, and good morning. Victoria City Council dealing with a number of separate motions tomorrow. 4 motions brought forward by councillors. They include Krista Loughton, who wants the city to set up a by-name list for every individual experiencing homelessness in the city and report on the status monthly. In the motion, she said the list would allow decision makers to evaluate system performance, identify bottlenecks, and allocate resources where they would have the most immediate impact. Meanwhile, the Mayor, Marion Alto, and Councillor Dave Thompson want the go-ahead to send a letter to the Federal Minister of Public Safety and the Provincial Minister of Public Safety to improve and expand on what is called the Fugitive Return Program and to better coordinate those successful returns within and between provinces. They say in Victoria alone, there are 80 fugitives with warrants out identified in the first 6 months of 2026. Of those 80, 31 met the criteria for consideration to potentially be turned in. Several involve serious charges like sexual assault or assaulting a police officer, but to date, 0 have been returned. Up in Duncan, a suspect doing a fair amount of illegal shopping at the Home Depot in that town. Problem is, he's not paying for his purchases. RCMP say he was involved in 2 separate thefts mid-month on July 15th and then again the following Friday, 48 hours later on the 17th. Somehow, he got away with a Frigidaire stainless steel fridge, a Samsung range, and electric tools. He's described as white between 55 and 70 with a large build, driving a 4-door gray SUV that may be a Range Rover. RCMP are circulating photos of the suspect. If you recognize this person, you can reach out to Duncan RCMP. Vancouver police say a rider caught speeding on an e-scooter was fined for operating a motor vehicle without a license or insurance because it was deemed not street legal, and that was based on the speed he was at. Officers say the rider was also not wearing appropriate helmet, didn't have proper brakes, and was streaming video on the phone while riding. Under the provincial pilot program, riders have to have e-bikes or e-scooters to a maximum speed. In this case, the rider was doing 65, which is 40 over what's allowed at 25K. When you ride faster than 25K, the scooter is then classified as a motor vehicle. So the rider was fined more than $1,000, $276 of that for not having a license, $598 for not having insurance, and $138 for driving above the limit. And Transport Minister Steve McKinnon says the federal government plans to spend $1.6 billion to replace 45 aging Via Rail locomotives. He gave the details today at a news conference in Montreal.
And the government is also investing right here in the people who work here, $357 million for Via Rail to build a new assembly and maintenance facility right here in Montreal.
Ottawa says the trains will be built by Switzerland-based Stadler, and with the first 9 built in Spain, the remaining 36 here in Canada. McKinnon says the deal will create 1,200 new full-time jobs. And that's your news to 7:36. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. Since wildfires are top of mind, we're asking you if you think municipal, provincial, and federal governments are doing enough to fight wildfires. Just over 50% say no. You can vote at CFAX1070.com. Also on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best, news time, 7:37.
Thank you, Lisa. It's 14 degrees right now. We're going to be seeing some clearing skies as we get through the day. Full forecast to come. Right now over to CFAX 1070 Sports, where the Toronto Blue Jays look to win the rubber match of their 3-game series with the Washington Nationals. Trey Savage gets the ball for Toronto. Washington counters with fellow right-hander Zach Little. Washington won last night's game 8-6 after a bit of a rain delay getting the thing going. Let's talk about the rest of the baseball. Seattle Mariners were in action last night, defeating the Los Angeles Dodgers 7-6 in a come-from-behind victory. And locally, the Victoria Harper Cats opened up their 3-game set with a narrow 6-5 victory over Port Angeles at the Wilsons Group Stadium at Royal Athletic Park. Those two teams going at it again later today. Commonwealth Games continuing in Glasgow, Scotland. Canada currently has 35 medals, including 13 gold. The gold medal, since they're weighed higher than the others. It places Canada second in the overall standings. Australia topping the table with 35 medals and 80 overall. And I'm loving telling this story because we got another local Vancouver Islander who added to our medal count this week. This is runner Michael Barber of Victoria, who won the silver medal in the men's T20 1500 meter final at the Commonwealth Games. That's your CFAX 1070 Sports at 7:39. CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps. For a comfortable home no matter the season. Big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps. They're designed for comfort. The South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Airstage dealer. The roads continue to be fairly typical this morning. No major crashes. I do have a report of a fender bender on the Trans-Canada Highway right around about Thetis Lake heading in towards Victoria, but I'm not quite sure if it's causing a huge problem or not. If you happen to go by, and you can text us hands-free or safely, or get somebody next to you to do it. Let me know. Is there anything actually causing trouble there? Reports of a fender bender, Trans-Canada Highway heading in towards Victoria, around about Thetis, but I think people are getting around it. For BC Ferries, no sailing rates right now. 8 o'clock sailing has lots of room left from Swartz Bay to Swanson. It does get very busy as of this afternoon. A lot of reservations ahead of us into the afternoon hours at BC Ferries. For the weather, it is mainly cloudy to start, but clearing as the day goes on. Highs of 21 degrees. A few clouds overnight, lows to 13. For Thursday and Friday, it's sunny with temperatures in the low 20s. Saturday, we begin the BC day-long weekend with some rain, but it clears up for Sunday and holiday Monday. Right now in Victoria, 14 degrees. Checking the markets. Well, things are still starting down after some big gains yesterday. We're slipping all over the place. S&P TSX down 312 to 35,437. The Dow in New York is down 751 to 51,995. The NASDAQ has also dropped 239 to 24,637. And the Canadian dollar at 71 cents US, which is up a little bit from yesterday's close to get us up to that 71 even mark. And I'll mention the oil because we've been following that barrel of oil. It's been very volatile this week, and now it's gained a bunch, up nearly $6 US a barrel to $85.08 US a barrel.
Let's get started. Start your day informed and entertained. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
And we continue to follow BC's wildfire situation. Last hour, we spoke to the Emergency Preparedness Minister about trying to get people to pre-register for emergency services. And she talked about all the ways that can actually help out. And not even because of a wildfire. Maybe it's an earthquake. Maybe it's a flood.
Flooding. Yeah,
whatever it is, if you're just pre-registered, you can kind of get the help easier without having to go to a reception center and queue up with everybody and deal with all that. You can just be kind of directly contacted. Streamlined,
yeah, which is what you really want to hear and have happen when you're in an emergency situation like that.
Yeah. And she said, like right now, there's nearly 1,000 people who are in some way getting emergency services support from the government with all the wildfires raging.
Right.
So let's take a look at the wildfires and where things are at right now in BC, because Ravi Parmar, Minister of Forests, also local MLA, of course, in Langford, he's going to be joining us in just a few moments on where things are headed. And we are heading towards a long weekend, a lot of travel, a lot of people are heading around. You know, what do you need to know about what parts of BC are problematic right now?
And even the smoke itself,
Yeah.
you know, when you take a look at the map, and it's worth checking out on a daily basis. If you're planning to travel to the mainland or south, if you're crossing the border, maybe to Seattle, Washington State, somewhere, maybe Portland or further south even, you need to check on this, because sometimes, depending on which way the prevailing winds are going, the smoke can get quite thick. And if you have any kind of breathing problems, or you simply don't want to put yourself in that kind of situation, then there's decisions to be made.
Right. Minister of Forests joining us next with everything we need to know about BC's wildfire situation so far. And before we get to the news, a traffic note. I was mentioning in traffic, Lisa, that there was a report of a fender bender or something slowing things up.
Right.
Trans-Canada Highway coming in towards Victoria around about Thetis Lake. This texter at 71010 giving me the update, so thank you. Just went off the road at Cedars Lake View Royal exit. I did not see any blockage, except the traffic is busy, although nothing more than normal. It is slow, says the texter. So it could be that there's not really anything in particular causing trouble, just a little slow there. If you have any updates, though, you can text me at 71010. But good news, if there's not some big crash there, like earlier
That is
reported.
good news.
Yeah, good news. We don't need any more problems. All right, let's get to the news. At 7:44, here is Lisa.
BC Highway Patrol asking you to mind your road manners for the long weekend. They're asking drivers to stay sober behind the wheel in advance of a busy travel weekend. Police say enforcement efforts in a single week this month on the mainland in northern BC, Dawson Creek and Fort St. John saw 18 vehicles impounded, with several roadside prohibitions and speeding infractions fines sent out as well. I will tell you locally that across Greater Victoria, many police departments are setting up DUI checks at different times and at different places, so it's best not to drink and drive. WestJet says passengers with flights scheduled anytime between tomorrow and Tuesday can make that one-time change or cancel with no fee. With this flight attendant strike deadline looming, some 4,400 flight attendants could be hitting the picket line as soon as Sunday. Negotiations continue, but they're intense. This new contract crew, cabin crew, voting 99% in favor of a strike mandate this month. So they're prepared to walk on what they want. Past airline labor standoffs have prompted a ramp up in flight cancellations a couple of days before the strike, which has to be a 72-hour warning from the union. So it looks like Sunday this may go down. Fire crews in southwest France are battling a massive blaze 4 times the size of Paris. And the temperature is well over 30 Celsius again today in that region. The fires forced 220,000 people out of home. Authorities in the Gironde region says that the situation was calm overnight, but the heat wave and winds could cause more flare-ups. Across France and Spain, a total of 330,000 people have been displaced by fire. More than 2,200 firefighters and over 20 aircraft remain mobilized, backed by crews from across France and European partners. We're going to hear from Ravi Parmar in a moment. He's going to talk about the local fire situation. That's your news to 746.
Yeah, stand by for that. We got traffic and weather as well. And we're getting very close to the meat draw.
Right on.
From Glenwood Meats.
All right.
A reminder of how this works. We're doing this all this week, a Glenwood Meats meat draw for $100 to spend there just in time for the BC Day long weekend. What we're going to do is around about 8, we're going to draw the number.
Okay.
Today's number.
Is it 810-ish?
Yeah, around then.
Okay, good.
It's a number between 1 and 100.
Right.
Once we've drawn the number, that's when you'll text us at 71010 and see if you can guess which one we drew.
Right. And we will tell you that on day 1, 50 was the number that was correct.
That was the first
we
number.
We had a winner, and then yesterday was 10.
Yeah.
So just so you know.
Yeah, and today it's going to be a different number.
We don't know.
I don't want the ball machine's going to spit out at me. We're going to draw one.
Does it really spit it out at you, eh?
The first,
a duck.
Yeah, I gotta watch myself because it's just randomly. Oh no, it's coming. No, the first person to get it right once we make the draw is the person we'll call.
Correct.
And if you pick up the phone, we'll give you $100 to Glenwood Meats.
So
it's that easy.
Answer the phone. Answer the phone.
Answer the phone. All right, that's coming up in just a moment. We'll take a break though. Traffic and weather next.
This summer, 3 of Vancouver Island's biggest voices are coming together to make a real difference.
Get your tickets now for the Kids Count Mega Summer 50/50.
Brought to you by 107.3 Virgin Radio, CFAX 1070, and CTV.
In support of CFAX Santa's Anonymous all-new Kids Count program, supporting children beyond Christmas.
The Mega Summer 50/50.
Your chance to win big while giving back.
Buy your tickets today at CFAX1070.com.
Gaming event license 174660. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. By the way, the morning show brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Until August 5th, get 600 Scene Plus points when you buy any participating cheeses and meats to build your own summer snacking bundles. For the roads, still got this little bit of an extra slowdown maybe on the Trans-Canada Highway heading in towards Victoria around about Thetis Lake. Listeners saying it doesn't look like there's anything really there anymore, if there even was, but maybe a little extra slow through that section for whatever reason, so watch out for that. It's the only blip we got so far in the current commute. The other blip is probably going to be this afternoon. Maybe you've noticed that in the afternoon, the sailing waits really start to add up at BC Ferries from Swartz Bay to Tsawwassen. It's been busy heading into this long weekend in the afternoons more so. No sailing waits right now in the morning. It's afternoon that's the problem. And already I'm looking ahead and seeing the 4 o'clock sailing being full already. The 5 o'clock, the 6 o'clock, the 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and so on are all very heavily reserved already. So it's going to be a busy one again later today. The weather is looking mainly cloudy to start, but sunny as the day goes on. Highs to hit 21 degrees, and right now it's 14. It's all here. News, weather, traffic, and community events. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Wildfires still ravaging much of the province and the country, for that matter, with communities on the mainland under evacuation still. And highway closures are in place in some areas. And with the BC day-long weekend coming up, it's probably a good chance to get a kind of a situation report on where things are at right now in BC. So we got the Minister of Forests on the line. He's also, of course, local MLA in Langford. Ravi Parmar is joining us on the line. Sir, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Ryan. Good morning to you, Lisa, and to all your listeners.
So for you personally, this has got to be like the busy time of year where you're trying to manage all of this stuff. What's it like to go through a wildfire season like this for the minister in charge?
Yeah, it was a relatively calm season last year, so I felt like I really got I was put in a position where I got a sound understanding of how the BC Wildfire Service operates, understand the challenges, the obstacles the organization faces, and also had respect for the hustle, determination of our wildland firefighters and all of the teams that make up the BC Wildfire Service in our response. No doubt, we started off with a relatively calm season. The last 2 weeks have been hectic, Ryan. It has been intense, and I think as people are now seeing, we are without a doubt in the core of our wildfire season here in BC.
Can you give us a sense of the numbers that we're looking at? You know, number of fires, number of people under evacuation right now. What's the scene right now?
Yeah, you bet. Happy to. We have just about 135 active wildfires here in British Columbia this this morning, 16 new starts in the last 24 hours, but at the same time, 103 that we've declared out in the last 7 days. So with those 135 active fires, for your listeners, we have well over 1,000 firefighting personnel, boots on the ground, 5 incident management teams in place. Those are teams that are working on very intense wildfires, and with that, tons of aviation resources, heavy equipment, and structure protection. In terms of evacuations, Ryan, we have hundreds of individuals in different parts of the province that are on evacuation order, and potentially thousands that are under evacuation alert, predominantly in the southern half of our province. I think of the Fraser Canyon near Boston Bar, as well as Clinton, British Columbia, all the way up to 70 Mile House as well. We're dealing with 2 particularly challenging fires, Ainsley Creek in the Fraser Canyon, as well as Pear Lake Fire in Clinton, British Columbia. In both cases, we did get a little bit of precipitation yesterday, which was obviously very helpful, but not nearly enough to be able to make a significant impact. We provided a video update yesterday on the Pear Lake Fire, which I encourage your listeners to go and take a look on the BC Wildfire Service Facebook page. Gives you a real sound understanding of the very difficult terrain, smoky conditions that our crews are dealing with, and also the very extreme fire behavior we're seeing.
Ravi, from the emotional aspect of it, because I know we read the stats every day. And so yesterday I did a bit of a deep dive into Clinton, and Google Maps is beautiful for that because it takes you right on the ground. And I looked around the community and how cute it is. It's a village. And it's the personal aspect of the emotional toll that sometimes gets lost simply because you're dealing with so much right now and you're dealing with so many different fires. But when we talk about 850 people at a home. This is a home that people looked around, had 30 minutes to look around and go, okay, I may never see this again. Mm-hmm. So I to stay in touch with that emotional aspect of it, because we're all at risk here. There's always a possibility of fire happening somewhere. Can you speak to that? Because I know from your position, you have to cover it all and you have a bird's eye view. But to implore people to look deeper and to realize that this is a human tragedy, really.
Oh, it sure is, Lisa. You've done a great job of explaining the real dilemma that many people are facing in rural British Columbia in particular. I love the town of Clinton. I've spent much time there in my work capacity over the last number of years, and I have a thing. Every time I drive through Clinton, I stop by the Junction Coffee House, because it was one of the first places I visited when I first went to Clinton, I think about 8-9 years ago when I was working for a minister. And so I kept thinking in my mind, I'm obviously a man of faith, kept praying for that community, and hoped that one day I could stop through that coffee house once again. But you're absolutely right. We all have to think about the people of Clinton and have to have our thoughts and prayers for them. But we also have to be ready as well. And coming home from one late night from the legislature just last week, I think it was on Friday, if I'm not mistaken, and coming home to news that we had a fire in the Goldstream campgrounds was an eye-opener for me and a reminder for me in Langford, I'm sure all of my neighbors, that fires can happen anywhere. I live relatively close to Thetis Lake, and so I'm often reminded about all of the vegetation and trees that I'm surrounded by, and it's a good reminder for all of us that fires can happen here in the Southern Island as well, and we all have a role to play. The BC Wildfire Service will come and do their part, but let's fire smart our properties. Let's be fire smart. It was obviously deflating, Lisa, to hear the news of $21,000 in fines that were provided out to people who didn't follow campfire bans. I'm sure many people are thinking that $21,000 is not enough, and I tend to agree with that. But let's all do our part, folks. We are in the hot dead of the summer now, and it is so critically important that we do our part, just as our wildland firefighters are doing their part.
Is there a disconnect with people when they light a fire, they think it's not going to get away from them?
I think with a small minority, I think most people have common sense to think, I probably shouldn't be lighting a fire right now, but you probably got a few people who just seriously, I don't know what they're thinking. They should just give their head a shake in terms of what they're doing. They may think a campfire is a fun atmosphere, but it's not fun when that campfire starts a fire and leads to a wildfire that could devastate a community. So for those that are heading into the long weekend who want to have some fun, you can have lots of fun without a campfire. campfire. Go for a swim in one of our beautiful lakes. Go enjoy the great outdoors. Go camping, but please don't do a campfire. There's a reason there's a campfire ban in place right now.
Speaking of heading into a long weekend, here's where I want to leave it. So as we talk about all the fires you just described in some parts of BC, if people are heading off the island, they're heading into beautiful parts of British Columbia to enjoy the long weekend, are there areas to avoid? I mean, I know you mentioned the canyon, for instance. I think that's full of road closures because of the fire. Are there places people should be watching for?
Yeah, great question, Ryan. Absolutely. Southern half of the province, no doubt. Just be mindful of potential road closures that may be coming because of new fire starts, especially if we see more lightning in the next couple of days. And so we encourage folks to download the BC Wildfire Service app, follow Drive BC on social media. That will provide you the latest and greatest in terms of updates on road conditions and wildfire conditions. And so, of course, the two areas that are most concerning right now for us is the Fraser Canyon, as well as Clinton, British Columbia, just below 100 Mile House. And so if you're thinking about heading into those areas, please do give some consideration to your travel routes and also stay out of the way of wildfire professionals. Don't bring out your drones and take photos and videos. It's just not the time for that. Go and enjoy other parts of British Columbia. I'll make a plug. The north right now is quite cool. In the past years that we've had conversations, both Ryan and Lisa, we've talked about fires in the northeast, in Prince George, in the northwest. It's relatively calm there, so maybe that's a place where you can go and visit. And in fact, if you want to go and visit and have a campfire, you can do so in the north of our province.
Ravi Parmar, he's BC's Minister of Forest as well as local MLA. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Good luck with all of this as your busy time continues.
Thanks very much. Take care.
Okay. Well, hey, we'll keep our eye on that. Let us know how your travel plans are affected by fire as we get into this long weekend. Let's put that aside, though. We got the news coming up, and we're about to do the meat draw. So stand by. Pretty soon we'll draw that number. And once we do, that's when you're going to text us your guess. What number between 1 and 100 is it? And if you get it right, you get some meat.
CFAX Victoria,
An iHeartRadio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. It's 8:01 on Wednesday, July 29th. We'll see the skies clear up and the sunshine come out as the day goes on. Right now, 14 degrees in Victoria. Full forecast to come. Right now, the news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
Thank you. Good morning. Premier David Eby defending a cabinet split over the expansion of the Tilbury LNG site in Delta. Eby says that he helped Emergency Management Minister Kelly Green draft a statement opposing the project near her Richmond area riding. The province has exempted the expansion from a certificate requirement by the BC Utilities Commission, clearing the way for 1,100 construction jobs and $260 million in tax revenue. Royal Roads University political expert David Black says it's an unusual break in cabinet solidarity, but Eby is also trying to support his environmental base. Canadian trade officials have a big week ahead. Negotiators back in Washington, D.C. for talks with U.S. counterparts. CTV's Rachel Ellis has the list on trade talks. The U.S. president's latest inflammatory comments about them isn't helping.
Mexico and Canada need us. We don't need them. The deal is important for them. It's not important for us.
This declaration prompting new questions about Canada's ability to get the Americans to make a deal. Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc and this country's chief trade negotiator are back down in D.C. this week, but won't say who they're meeting with. Asked to respond to Trump saying the U.S. doesn't need Canada, the minister's spokesperson said, quote, "We will not comment on that."
This is the first time trade officials are meeting stateside since Trump's latest 50% tariff threat on Canada, which could come into play on August 19th. A new report suggests data breaches are becoming more and more costly for Canadian companies.
Research from tech giant IBM suggests Canadian organizations paid an average of $7.11 million per data breach this year, up from $6.98 million covering the same period studied last year. The average breach exposed 28,500 records, up 8% from last year, and it took 6% longer, or an average of 205 days, to detect and contain that breach. IBM's security leader, Chris Sicard, says it's getting more expensive to tackle the breaches because doing so involves business interruptions, customer communications, and legal and regulatory obligations. Karen Rebo, The Canadian Press.
At least 13 people confirmed dead, many more injured after that powerful earthquake in southern Japan on Tuesday. Japan's public broadcaster NHK citing remarks from Japan's prime minister.
Some 300,000 people told to evacuate because of aftershocks. Tens of thousands are without power. Homes pancaked. Rescuers picking through what's left. Other buildings are still burning, smoke billowing into the air. Japan's prime minister warning of the risk of more building collapses and possible landslides.
And the latest from the roads and that major recall involving now 500,000 Ford SUVs.
The owners of more than 560,000 Ford Bronco and Bronco Raptors are being notified about a safety recall tied to a possible engine compartment fire. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says the wiring in 2021 through 26 models may short circuit. If that occurs, drivers may first get a dashboard alert or see smoke coming out of the vents before flames appear on the passenger side of the engine compartment. Ford says only about 1% of the recalled vehicles are affected and that it will install new covers on the wiring at no cost. I'm Daria Albinger.
That's your CFAX News to 8:05. Your CFAX 1070 news poll. We're asking if you feel government is doing enough to fight wildfires. 57% saying no. You can vote at CFAX1070.com, Twitter X, and also the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best. Your news time is 8:06.
Lisa, it happened.
It did?
A ball.
Okay.
Spat out of the machine with a number on it.
Got a good visual.
Got
Okay.
it. Caught it.
Okay, you caught it.
So
Good.
I got the number. I'm not going to tell you what the number is. And I will tell you it's a number between 1 and 100.
That's narrowing it down. Okay.
Can you guess which one it is? That's all you got to try to do. Text me now at 71010 for the CFAX 1070 meat draw from Glenwood Meats. If the first person now to get the correct number,
yes,
will get a phone call from me in just a moment, and we'll give you $100 to Glenwood Meats just in time for the BC Day long weekend. So you ready? What number do you think it is? Text us at 71010 between 1 and 100. Oh, there they come. Just got like 1,000 text messages all at once. I'll go look through those right now.
Quite amazing.
Yeah, I'll be checking those in just a second, but I'll do the sports right now. I love the meat draw. It's just the best.
Good. Everyone's on board.
It's so good. Well, at the Victoria Harbour Cats game yesterday, good result, 6-5 win over Port Angeles at Wilson's Group Stadium, Royal Athletic Park. This is as the Harbour Cats opened up their 3-game set with the win. 2 more games, including tonight against Port Angeles at home at Royal Athletic Park. For the Majors, the game was delayed 67 minutes by rain. Shane Bieber never really got going. The Blue Jays starting pitcher and former Cy Young Award winner gave up 6 walks, 4 runs, never made it out of the first inning as Toronto dropped an 8-6 decision to the host Washington Nationals. So they'll go at it again tonight, those 2 teams. Seattle Mariners defeated the Los Angeles Dodgers 7-6 in a come-from-behind victory as well in another game that was on last night in sports. Commonwealth Games continuing. Canada, trying to up its medal count again. We've got 35, including 13 gold. And with the gold being weighed higher than others, we actually are placed second in the standings so far, behind just Australia, who top the medal count with 35 gold medals and 80 overall. And a shout out to Michael Barber of Victoria, the runner, who won the silver medal in the men's T20 1500 meter final at the Commonwealth Games earlier this week. That is your CFAX 1070 Sports. It's 8:09, and we're going to call somebody in just a moment for the meat draw. The texts are flying at 71010. Number between 1 and 100. What is the meat draw number today for Glenwood Meats? We're going to call a winner in just a moment. The morning show also brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Until August 5th, get 600 Scene Plus points when you buy any participating cheeses and meats to build your own summer snacking bundle. On the roads, no crashes or accidents. We had reports of a fender bender on the Trans-Canada Highway near Thetis earlier today. I don't think that's... whatever was there, it's moving pretty smoothly now, it seems. Just the usual slowdown as you hit the construction zone. Lots of volume today, it seems, but nothing else really causing any trouble. BC Ferry's busy as of this afternoon. We're fine now. No sailing waits from Swartz Bay to Swassen now, but we've already got a sailing wait at 4 p.m., and then a lot of reservations after that. So watch out for a busy day if you are taking BC Ferries without a reservation this afternoon. Weather-wise, it's going to clear up as the day goes on. Highs of 21. Lows down to 13 overnight. The next couple of days will stay mostly sunny, Thursday, Friday. Temperatures in the low 20s. And then we get to the BC Day long weekend. We're going to start with some rain. Saturday, it's going to be a bit wet. Doesn't last long. It looks like Sunday and holiday Monday will clear up and get back into some sunshine. And temperatures by Monday could be up to 24 degrees, which could be some foreshadowing of a warm week ahead of us, that week of BC Day long weekend. That's what's in the long-range forecast. Right now, we're sitting at 14 degrees. On the markets, things continue to slide. S&P TSX down 366 to 35,383. The Dow is down 786 to 51,960. NASDAQ is down 247 to 24,629. Canadian dollar at 71 cents US even, which is up a little bit from yesterday's close.
Don't attempt your morning commute without us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
And it's Ryan and Lisa's Meat Draw. We're going to call a winner because somebody has now texted me the correct number.
Okay.
It's the first person to get it right gets a call. And
Right.
if as long as they pick it up, they're going to get $100.
We're going to chat.
So let me...
Okay, do that thing.
I'm going to do a phone
Dial
call.
the number.
I love this live. What if I got it wrong? Wouldn't that be like embarrassing if it was a wrong number? Anyways, I'm going to keep going.
Ryan, don't
Yeah.
even suggest that.
Don't.
Just press the right buttons. There you go. No pressure. Okay. Does that sound like your number?
All right.
Okay, there we are.
Will
Gonna
there be a
ring.
ring?
Gonna ring.
Imagine if we got somebody's message machine.
Oh no. Answer the phone.
Good morning.
Good morning. Who's this?
It's Anya.
Anya, were you by any chance just participating in a meat draw on the radio?
I am. I'm just having my breakfast. I'm watching my phone on my table here.
Well, have we got news?
Well, you just texted me the number 67, which happened to be the one that spat out at me with the little ball machine here. So that was correct.
Yay.
That's amazing.
Anya, you win.
Thank you so much. That's wonderful.
What do you think you will spend your $100 on? What is the choice meat for you at Glenwood Meats?
Well, I've got company coming over the next few weeks and that, so it's going to be perfect for barbecuing that. So I'll have to see whether we go some, chicken or steaks or whatever. It's been quite a while since I've been to Glenwood Meats, so I'm not really sure all that they offer, but I'm sure I'll find something that everyone will enjoy.
Well, I love that this is a great opportunity for you to go back, check out what Glenwood Meats has, because you got $100 to go and spend and feed all those people that are coming over on the weekend.
That's fantastic.
Happy BC Day long weekend. Okay.
Yeah, this is excellent.
Anya, I'm going to put you on hold. I want to talk to you off the air, though, so don't go anywhere. I'll get you your information so I can get you the prize. And, man, so many people texting. If you missed out today, don't worry. We're doing it again tomorrow and Friday, all this week, heading towards this BC Day long weekend. And if you're wondering, if you're like, hey, where is Glenwood Meats? It's on Parkdale Drive in Langford, by the way. That is where you want to go to check it out. Let's get to the news now. 8:15, time for the headlines with Lisa.
Looking at the fire status in BC, we have 135 fires burning, 52 of those considered out of control. There's been 16 new starts in the last 24 hours. None of those are on Vancouver Island, though. The 3 fires we do have burning on the island are either considered being held or under control, so good work from crews and Mother Nature, too, in that department. Wildfire situation looks like it's blowing away from Vancouver Island again today for a second day. We'll keep you posted if that does change. Temperatures set to soar in France and Spain today as Europe deals with large-scale evacuations in the face of fires. In Spain, at least 6 regions now on an orange alert as temperatures expected to top 30 Fahrenheit again today. Authorities say the blaze in the East Castellon region remains out of control, burning nearly 25,000 hectares of land, the weather triggering several flare-ups. In France, firefighters continue to maintain a major blaze west of Bordeaux, keeping it stable overnight. Officials have evacuated 220,000 people as the fire threatens the peninsula along the Atlantic coast. Experts say the world is experiencing 2 opposing fire trends due to human impact. The wildfires in Europe, Canada, and the U.S. are high, and they're flirting with the record levels in Europe. In North America, land burned this summer is at least 25% higher than the 10-year average. Meanwhile, global fire emissions hit a record low in July thanks to reduced fires burning in Africa and Asia. Fires decreasing because of changing agricultural practices, the fire management, and where people are living. Still, scientists say climate change is making fires more extreme, and experts have warned that the incoming El Nino could worsen fires in the tropics in the coming months. A special government meeting being held in Ottawa today discussing the Gordie Howe International Bridge running between Windsor and Detroit, which opened earlier this week. The House of Commons committee meeting comes just 48 hours after the official opening Monday. It's expected to be more administrative in nature, this meeting, but it comes as the Liberal government continues to face questions about its revenue sharing agreement with the United States. And we've lost Oscar and Grammy-winning musician Glenn Hansard. He's died at the age of 56 after a single-vehicle motorcycle collision in his hometown of Dublin early this morning. Hansard was also part of the Irish rock band The Frames, as well as Eddie Vedder's The Earthlings backing band. That's your news, 8:17.
Well, we just gave away today's meat draw prize to Anya.
Yes.
And we were asking her, hey, what are you going to get at Glenwood Meats? And I've got a suggestion from a texter.
Okay.
Anya, if you're still out there. The texter says, good morning, Ryan and Lisa. A suggestion for something to try at Glenwood Meats. We just barbecued their lemon and herb spatchcock chicken last night for dinner, and OMG, says the texter.
Okay.
So there's a suggestion.
All right.
I love a good spatchcock chicken.
Well, the fact that lemon and herb, I'm there.
Yeah, so good. So good. Okay, let's move on to the next topic today. We're actually going to talk pickleball next. Pickleball for a cause, because the Shoreline Medical Society is launching registration for its very first pickleball tournament this September, with all of the funds raised going for primary care on the peninsula. Do you want a pickleball for a cause? We'll tell you more about it next. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. It is 8:20, and for traffic, we had what other snag was going on the Trans-Canada Highway clear up. It looks like things are moving, slow but normal if you're coming in from the West Shore into the Victoria area on the Trans-Canada Highway. Everything else is looking pretty typical. No crashes. Things are fine on the Malahat and the Pat Bay Highway. Things are also moving okay this morning at BC Ferry, Swartz Bay to Tsawwassen, but things are very heavily reserved in the afternoon hours. Just heads up from Swartz Bay to Tsawwassen. The weather's clearing up as the day goes on. Highs will hit 21. A little cooler by the water. A few clouds overnight tonight, lows to 13. Could get a bit windy again tonight. I know yesterday at times it was quite blustery if you were by the water. A little stormy. Not always, but it certainly picked up kind of midday. So we might see some more of those winds here and there, particularly into the evening part of the day. Tomorrow and Friday both looking mostly sunny. Temperatures in the low 20s. Saturday the rain kicks in to start the BC Day long weekend, but it dries up for the Sunday and Monday.
Thanks for starting your day with us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Oh, this is kind of fun. To raise money for primary care on the Saanich Peninsula, the Shoreline Medical Society is launching registration for its first ever pickleball tournament. It's going to happen in September, but registrations can start now. And here to talk about it is Sarah Riddle, the executive director of the Shoreline Medical Society. Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I think this is kind of fun. Pickleball tournament for a good cause. What do we need to know about this tournament?
All right. Well, I mean, who doesn't love a good pickleball tournament? And this is the first ever one on the Saanich Peninsula, so we're so excited to host it. It's happening September 18th to 20th at the Multi-Sport Box in Centennial Park in Saanich. So that's a pretty new piece of infrastructure, and we're so excited to be the first to host a tournament there. I myself have no business hosting a pickleball tournament, so we are working with Court Crushers, which is a professionally managing the tournament operations, so don't worry, that is well taken care of. And you can expect a weekend of pickleball for all levels. We'll have community activities. We'll obviously be doing some fundraising for our organization. And yeah, registration just opened, and we've had a great enthusiastic response.
Please tell me you'll give us a lesson first.
Well, you know, some of our staff are doing that. They've been going out to the community courts and learning from the regulars. So absolutely, there's still lots of time to learn.
Yeah, because it would be nice. It'll be a learning curve, but I'd like to take part. But yeah, I haven't found the ins and outs with the math, because you got to do the math at the beginning before you volley the ball, right?
Oh, gosh, you're still miles ahead of me.
Oh, okay. You're not there yet either. And apparently there's all different kinds of rackets. It's a thing. It's a racket.
It's a thing.
You picked up on it.
Absolutely.
So the idea of doing a pickleball tournament for the Shoreline Medical Society, let's talk about why that's even a thing, because you are not just a normal doctor's office, or I guess, you know, there's a couple of the doctor's offices. There is a whole charitable organization behind this thing. So talk about why there's the need to fundraise for this.
Yeah, that's right. So Shoreline Medical Society is a charitable nonprofit. We do have 2 primary care clinics, and those operate just like a regular family physician office, except we do put a really strong emphasis on team-based care. So there's one in Sydney and one in Brentwood Bay. And then probably the most significant part of our charitable operations is the youth clinic. So we have a free youth clinic in Sydney. It operates on Thursday night. We have a drop-in for youth. We have mental health and substance use counseling, and we also have physician appointments. And that's something that's almost entirely supported by the community, and something that we're hearing a really big need to continue investing in and growing in, strengthening. So that's a really big piece of it. Another one is Shoreline. We see ourselves as citizens of the health system on the Saanich Peninsula. So we obviously we have a strong emphasis on serving our primary care patients, but we also want to make sure that the physicians that work with Shoreline can also support our hospital, because we know how critical that is to everyone. They also do palliative care. They work in long-term care. So we want to make sure that we are able to support them to do that. And that does come with extra costs around recruitment, retention, scheduling, and other organizational costs that are part of this as well.
And it's a kind of an unusual model, because not all doctors' offices work that way.
No, it's a new. We were one of the first to operate like this. We started 10 years ago. It's actually our 10th anniversary this year. But it is something that we're seeing spread throughout the province. So that is exciting. It's a model I know I certainly deeply believe in.
Oh, that's so cool. So again, Shoreline Medical Society, they got those couple of offices. They do all this stuff, but they need a little extra help doing it. So they've got things like the pickleball tournament as a fundraiser.
Pickleball.
Yeah.
You got it.
And I love that this is the first time you've tried the pickleball side of things. If it goes well, do you think you'll make this an annual thing, or is this just a one and done moment?
I think that's the hope. You know, it's fun. It really aligns with our values. It's bringing together community, physical activity, and then, you know, supporting healthcare close to home. So we are hoping this is our first year, and that we'll be able to do it in the years coming and make it even better and greater, because I'm sure we're going to learn a lot.
Depending on the success of this, Sarah, this sort of opens up a whole new avenue for you. It's a really positive spin on building money for healthcare. So could you see yourself doing other kinds of fundraisers down the road?
Yeah, we do. And I think with our fundraising, one of the things you'll see is we're really trying to make them community events that are accessible to everyone, that invite people to come join us. So last year, we did our first sort of winter event. It was called Glow Together, and we set up a light display in Centennial Park. We had a big kickoff where we had kids' activities and campfires, and the fire department came, and food trucks. So we tried that last year. It went really well. We're anticipating we're going to do it again, and then we'd like to add the pickleball to the roster.
And let's do the details on the pickleball. So the tournament itself will take place over the weekend of September 18th to the 20th. Is that right?
You got it. So it starts on the Friday afternoon, and then it will continue all weekend long.
And it is a full weekend. It's for charity, but you want to register now. So registration is now open, and you have until September 5th to register. And if people want to do it, where do they go and how do they do it?
Yeah. Okay. So Court Crushers website, courtcrushers.ca/event/Pickles for Patients Charity Classic, or you can go to the Shoreline website and check out the news section, shorelinemedical.ca, and we've got a link there as well.
Sorry, I just clued in that it's Pickles for Patients. That's very good.
I love it. I love it so much.
All right, well, check it out. If you just Google search Pickles for Patients, do you think you'd get there too?
You could probably find it that way.
Okay.
That's probably easier.
Another way. Okay, very good. Sarah Riddle is the executive director of the Shoreline Medical Society. This is a lot of fun. Keep us up to date on how it's going, okay?
All right. Thanks so much for having me on.
All right. Cheers. There you go. Well, always love talking pickleball. That's the story right here. We'll take a quick break in just a few moments. We will get to your traffic, weather, sports, everything else going on. See something on the roads causing trouble? Text us at 71010. We got the 8:30 news as well with Lisa Best in just a moment on the CFAX Morning Show.
CFAX, Santa's Anonymous.
Hey, grown-ups, you know, the ones still kids at heart.
Through the Kids Count Children's Grant Program powered by CFAX Santa's Anonymous, local kids are getting help with summer camp fees, food security, and mental wellness support.
Where do you see kids needing the most support?
Access to healthy, fresh food through the summer.
Visit CFAXSantas.com right now and give directly to the cause that matters most to you.
Kids Count.
Powered by CFAX Santa's Anonymous.
To find out how you can help, visit CFAXSantas.com. CFAX Victoria,
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. It's 8:30 on Wednesday, July 29th. Clearing skies today. Eventually a high of 21 degrees. It's 14 right now. Full forecast to come right now. The news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
On the BC wildfire front, Premier David Eby says all of us are thinking about the evacuees who have possibly lost homes, businesses, and other structures, specifically in the village of Clinton. David Eby says his heart goes out to hearing the horrible news. The government and communities will be standing by those affected during the rebuild process, and he had special praise for fire crews.
Absolutely heroic work to save what appears to be most of the community of Clinton. And we'll be looking for updates from them about impacts of the fire, but the scale and scope of the fire that they faced threatening that community and their heroism in working overnight to battle flames and preserve as much as possible was nothing short of heroic. And I want to thank them for their efforts and their continuing efforts through the rest of the fire season.
The BC Wildfire Service says about 24 firefighters from Yukon and almost 70 from Alberta have boots on the ground as of today, while about 200 staff from Mexico are due to arrive early next month. From the land to the water, the World Wildlife Fund estimates that only about 75 southern resident killer whales remain living in the Salish Sea. Now, researchers project the population could disappear within the next century. There is a fundraiser planned if you'd like to help raise funds. October 24th, World Nature Conservation Day at BC Place. It's the third annual WWF Climb for Nature. It'll see participants completing a lap around the stadium, but you don't run it. You climb up and down the stairs between the seating sections to get it done. At least 18 people now confirmed dead in that major quake in Japan. Laura Westbrook reports several buildings have collapsed, including that shopping mall.
Shortly after the tremor, there were also reports of an explosion at the shopping mall, possibly linked to a gas leak. Officials said the second floor section of the mall had also collapsed. Rescue efforts have been continuing to try to find people who may be trapped.
The quake, initially reported as 7.1, downgraded to 6.8, hit just as rush hour is getting underway in the country's southern prefecture. Thousands of soldiers deployed to help the rescue efforts. Several aftershocks in the region have been felt, and thousands remain without power. At least 67 are injured. The Liberal government plans to eliminate the financial contribution required for streamers set by the CRTC. Lisa Report has a story.
A court document submitted by the Attorney General's office on July 17th says the government plans to replace the requirement with federal funding and publish the new policy directive to the broadcast regulator in the coming weeks. Ottawa said early last month it would issue a new policy directive after the CRTC increased contributions for large streaming services from 5% to 15%.
The move was made after the U.S. identified legislation as a trade irritant. However, the U.S. Trade Representative has since said that Canada wouldn't really get credit for the move in the end. A new report suggests data breaches are becoming very costly for Canadian companies.
Research from tech giant IBM suggests Canadian organizations paid an average of $7.11 million per data breach this year, up from $6.98 million covering the same period studied last year. The average breach exposed 28,500 records, up 8% from last year, and it took 6% longer, or an average of 205 days, to detect and contain that breach. IBM's security leader, Chris Sicard, says it's getting more expensive to tackle the breaches because doing so involves business interruptions, customer communications, and legal and regulatory obligations. Karen Rebo, The Canadian Press.
4 women are accusing actor and 30 Seconds to Mars band frontman Jared Leto of sexual misconduct.
The claims are coming out in a new BBC documentary called Jared Leto, Hollywood's Dark Secret. The BBC says the allegations against the 54-year-old Leto all stem from incidents that occurred when the women were teenagers between 2002 and 2016. The Hollywood Reporter says it reached out to Leto's representatives for comment on the claims in the documentary, but has not heard back. Jared Leto, Hollywood's Dark Secret, is streaming on the BBC. I'm Michael Kastner.
And a Surfrider Foundation report shows that cigarette butts are Vancouver Island, but also Hawaii's most common beach litter.
Volunteers collected about 170,000 pounds of trash during 54 cleanups across Maui, Kauai, and Oahu. That accounts for more than half of the nearly 340,000 pounds collected nationwide. Surfrider says cigarette filters contain synthetic plastic fibers that break down slowly and can release toxic chemicals into the ocean. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
That's your news to 8:35. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning, we're asking, do you think government is doing enough to fight wildfires? 57% are saying no. You can vote at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa. Best your news time is 8:36.
Thank you, Lisa. Clearing skies today. Right now we're sitting at 15 degrees. Full forecast to come. Right now, let's do some CFAX 1070 sports. Hey, I got a text message reminding me of something really cool that's going on right now. There's a whole big Little League championship going on around Victoria right now. We're hosting Hampton Little League at 11 o'clock today. There'll be the Hampton Little League Park. There's going to be a game featuring the Victoria Bulldogs and the Quebec Diamonds. And the winner of that one is going to the World Intermediate Championship.
Wow. Now, how old are these kids?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kids.
It sounds young.
I
That's
don't know
really
the exact
cool.
ages. I would love to find out the results of that. Maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. Do the Victoria Bulldogs get to go to the World Intermediate Championships? This is a story to follow.
Yeah.
Speaking of things going on locally, Victoria Harper Cats opened up their 3-game set against Port Angeles with a narrow 6-5 victory at Wilson's Group Stadium, Royal Athletic Park last night. So that's the first of 3 games for those 2 teams at Royal Athletic Park. Another one tonight. For the Blue Jays, they wrap up a 3-game series today against the host Washington Nationals, looking to win the rubber match. Right-hander Trey Savage will be on the mound for the Jays. They won the opener on Monday 3-3, but lost last night 8-6 after a rain delay. And the Seattle Mariners defeated the Los Angeles Dodgers 7-6 in a come-from-behind victory. Canada aiming to increase our medal count at the Commonwealth Games, heading into Day 6 in Glasgow. In fact, well, I guess we're well into Day 6. Once you put us 8 or 9 hours ahead in Europe. But yeah, so well into the day, Canada went into this day at 35 medals, including 13 gold and 10 silver. The 13 gold and the weighting of the gold means that we are second in the standings, just behind Australia, who have 35 gold and 80 overall. England with 10 golds, 43 medals overall. Michael Barber of Victoria won the silver medal in the men's T20, the 1,500-meter running final at the Commonwealth Games this week to add to that count. That's your CFAX Sports to 8:39. CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps. For a comfortable home no matter the season, big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps. Designed for comfort, the South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. For the roads, things are looking like they're evening out a little bit. So we had some slowdowns on the Trans-Canada Highway heading in towards Victoria earlier today, but now it looks like it's just the construction-related delays and quite a bit of volume still this morning, but nothing major happening there. BC Ferries will get busy this afternoon. There's some heavy reservations kind of 4 p.m. onwards. In fact, the 4 o'clock sailing from Swartz Bay to Swanson is already full, but there's still plenty of space until then. So if you can get out earlier from Swartz Bay to Swanson, it looks like it's a much easier situation. The weather forecast today is mainly cloudy to start, but we're starting to clear up already. We're seeing some patches of blue. It's going to get sunnier as the day goes on. Highs of 21 expected today. A little cooler by the water. We could see some breeze off the Wantafuka Strait again today like we did yesterday. A few clouds tonight, lows to 13. Tomorrow, mainly sunny. Highs of 21. Same again on Friday. Rain kicks off the BC day-long weekend on Saturday, but the sunshine is back on Sunday and Monday. And actually, as we get into next week, it's getting warmer. We're going to see temperatures on BC Day Monday up to about 24. Could be even warmer on Tuesday in our long-range forecast. So a bit of heat coming back at us once we get into next week. Right now, it's 15. On the markets in Toronto, S&P TSX down 352 to 35,397. The Dow has dropped 809, big slide there, to 51,937. The Nasdaq is down 253 to 24,623. Canadian dollar now up to 71 cents US, which is a little up from yesterday's close. Barrel of crude oil up $5.61 US a barrel to $84.87 as a bit of a roller coaster ride on oil prices continues.
In the kitchen, in the car, and at the office. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Take us with you. Listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
Well, I'm excited for this coming up. A great conversation to have. Around this time yesterday, Lisa, we were talking about some restaurant business around Victoria. And one of the stories was that the iconic Italian food imports, the Italian deli, on Blanchard Street in Victoria was for sale. Actually, it was sold.
Right.
And there was a post on Instagram from the owners sort of saying, hey, there's some new owners coming in. It's going to keep going. The Italian deli is still going to be there, but some new owners are taking over. And after that conversation, I was like, I'd love to talk to these folks who've sold about their family business that they've been running since the mid-'80s. And
that's so long.
Yeah.
You think to be in business and all the changes that they've weathered. They went through the pandemic, of course. That was the most latest thing they've done. But 4 decades of being, serving up good Italian food.
Yeah. So we thought, well, let's reach out to them and see if they'll talk to us. And they will. So we're going to get some of the family members behind the Italian food imports on Blanchard to talk to us about all of that history and why sell? Why did they decide to make this move? What's next for them?
How dare they retire?
How dare you? I got lots of great text messages yesterday, people telling stories about this, and I've already got another one here. I'll save this for when we get on with him in a moment, but I do love that I had a teacher, a grade 5 teacher who taught one of the owners.
Really?
And the fond memories of his grandmother coming in and making food and stuff.
Oh, you're going to have to share that one.
I will share this text message with Massimo from the Italian deli, Massimo Segato, who's joining us to talk about it in just a few moments. While we wait for that, a couple of things to talk about. Bit of logistics. Glenwood Meats Meat Draw went great today. Congratulations to Anya for winning.
Huge response.
Huge response. Lots of people wondering, are we still doing it? Yeah, tomorrow and Friday we'll be doing more meat draws. And here's how it works for anybody who's wondering. Once we draw the number, which is usually going to happen right after you're done your 8 o'clock news, Lisa.
Yes.
That's where we draw the number. You want to text us after we've drawn the number. So wait until we have the number before you make your guess. So if you're doing it tomorrow,
yes,
that's what you want to do.
That's right.
Wait until it's go time.
Don't waste your number, basically. And don't text us every number between 1 and 100 because we know that can happen too. Yeah. And we're smarter than that.
Yeah, exactly.
So just let Lady Luck play her cards for you.
So that'll be coming up tomorrow. So watch out for that. It is the meat draw from Glenwood Meats. And also, I'm just so happy. Yes. This is another thing we're talking about today. The other thing we got going on is the 50-50 raffle.
It's doing well.
Kids Count, which is by CFAX Santa's Anonymous. It's their way of helping kids around the community beyond Christmas. And today was a big day because today is when the jackpot went up over $10,000. And it's gone up another couple $100 since last time I mentioned.
Yes.
So we're up over $10,000, which means that if you were to win, if this were to be drawn today, you'd be walking home with over $5,000.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That's just a start because it's going to continue to climb.
We've still got a month.
Right.
Before but it could sell out. So you don't want to wait. Don't wait until the end of August to buy your tickets because you never know if there'll be any left by then. So there you go. The Kids Count, Mega Summer 50-50 for CFAX Santa's Anonymous. If you want to participate, go to CFAX1070.com. You click on the big button. You can't miss it. And you can buy your ticket online.
Lots of ways to win.
8:45, time for the headlines. Here's Lisa.
Nice day to get outside and enjoy the sunshine, maybe on the beach. And max tanning's a thing with the younger generation. So one doctor's bringing awareness the dangers of skin exposure to the sun in tanning salons. Professor Spencer Dunaway with the Department of Dermatology at Ohio State thinks there's a definite trend with the younger generation ignoring and not even being aware of the risks of tanning and long-term UV radiation. He says there is clear evidence that tanning at an early age will dramatically increase your risk of developing skin cancer, definitely premature aging of skin, and the development of sunspots are a sure thing. He says tanning beds do cause cancer, but evidence shows that those who use them as teens are much more likely to become lifelong tanners and increase the risk. The death toll in Japan has risen to 18 now. Rescuers continue to comb through the rubble after an earthquake in the country's southwest on Tuesday. Soldiers and emergency workers are looking at the badly damaged shopping mall that partially collapsed, as well as collapsed houses, looking for trapped survivors after that magnitude 6.8 shaker. Local authorities say at least 62 people are injured and 6 of them are in serious conditions. And today in the U.S., Dr. Anthony Fauci has repeatedly invoked the Fifth Amendment at a hearing before the GOP-led Senate panel on the pandemic. Fauci called Kentucky Senator Rand Paul unhinged, and he said he was pleading the Fifth to avoid Republicans possibly using his testimony to prosecute him for perjury. Paul then removed Fauci's lawyer from the hearing after he had warned to stop interrupting the proceeding. There's more to come in this camp. We'll keep you posted. That is your news to 8:47.
The folks behind the Italian Deli, which is sold, but they've got a new owner who's going to carry it on. So the Italian Deli will live on. But what about the folks, the family that's been behind it for the last few decades? We got Massimo Segato joining us next. I got some lovely text message notes to pass on to them. I love that these are coming in. We're going to get to that next.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island. Victoria Symphony presents Symphony in the Summer Festival, July 10th through August 9th. Details at victoriasymphony.ca. Catch all the excitement of summer baseball with the Victoria Harbour Cats. More info at harbourcats.com. Have an event you want featured on CFAX 1070? Text us at 71010 to be featured.
Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
It's 8:49. Let's check traffic and weather. The roads are looking fairly clear, although it's been fairly heavy volume from the West Shore into Victoria on the Trans-Canada Highway specifically today, and getting through the slowdown of the bus lane widening project there. Watch out for that. They're also testing the sewers in Rock Bay with smoke, so if you see smoke coming out of the storm drains, so don't be alarmed. I don't know if it's causing any trouble, but watch out for that as just a thing that's going on the streets. So BC Ferries, no sailing waits right now, but a lot of heavy reservations in the afternoon hours, 4 o'clock onwards. So we might be into another afternoon like yesterday where we see several sailing waits coming at us. That's later, though. And in the weather forecast, it's a mainly cloudy start to the day, but sunshine is starting to break through, and we're going to get sunnier as the day goes on. Highs of 21 and lows tonight down to 13 degrees. Tomorrow and Friday looking sunny. Rain for Saturday to kick off the BC Day long weekend, but Sunday and Monday, I think that's including Holiday Monday, looking sunny again.
Ryan and Lisa. Mornings on CFAX 1070. Remember, you have us in the palm of your hand. For listeners on the go, listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
As we've been covering this week, a iconic restaurant and food location in Victoria is changing hands. On Blanchard Street, that's where you find the Italian Food Imports. At the Italian Deli, a lot of folks would call it. It's about to change ownership, marking a shift in what has been a family-owned business for more than 40 years. And we really wanted to talk to the family, and we're so so happy that we've reached on the line right now Massimo Segato, one of the family behind the Italian Deli. Hello, sir. How you doing?
I am doing great, thank you.
So good. So this weekend, over the weekend, on your social media, you made the announcement. It's sold, and you made sure to tell everybody that there's some new owners who are going to take it on and keep this thing going. But for you and your family, this I guess is the end of the line. What do you want to tell everybody about the sale?
Well, my brother and I had come to a point where we had thought it was a good time to sell. Retirement for my brother, probably myself. I've got some more years ahead of me, but for the next few months, I'm going to lay low and then decide what my next step will be. But importantly, and the most important thing is that the deli will live on in great hands. The new owners are wonderful, and they are looking forward to serving Victoria as much as we have. And again, another important point is that they're not planning to change anything. It is going to be what it is right now, and they'll probably make it even better.
Okay, because I think that's one of the things people want to know. Is it going to stay the same? Because people love it the way it is. So they're planning to keep it going like it is.
Absolutely, yeah. The public doesn't have to be alarmed. The meatball sandwiches and all the other sandwiches, it'll live on. It'll keep going.
That's great. Now, I want to talk a bit more about the history here because I think a lot of folks have a sense of it. But let's sketch this out. It's the mid-'80s. Your family started this thing. Talk about where it began.
Yeah, so we took over in 1985 here, and back at that time, if you were to take a customer from 1985 and bring them here today, they would probably not really recognize the place much because back in the early 80s, importing Italian goods wasn't as readily available. A lot of the knowledge of food at the public at that time wasn't the same as it is now. And, we've grown the business. The lunch business was non-existent at the first couple of years. That's something we started doing into the, late 80s into the early mid-90s, and that's when we really took that on. So all the panini, the meatball sandwiches, all that stuff wasn't a thing when we first started.
Wow. And it grew and grew. I know the lunch, when I worked in that neck of the woods, that was the thing to do. You went and you ate at the Italian Deli. That was, it still is. But now you yourself, when did you really start to work there?
So my brother and I have been running it completely since 1995.
Oh, okay.
So obviously my mom started off, my brother was here. He was a 19-year-old fresh kid out of first year of business administration at Molson College, and so he was here helping out my mom at the time. And then about 4 or 5 years later, he started doing it full time, and then we took it on together after that. But we were raised in this deli basically from a younger age, and just kept going. So for myself, it was education at home because this is what we grew up with, and then I learned to be with customers, and I learned to learn the trade from the master, which was my mom.
Can I read you some text messages from listeners who would like to pass some things on to you?
Please.
Okay, so this texter at 71010 says, Massimo, thank you for years of great service. You will remember Sean and I buying sandwiches in the 90s as bike couriers. So that's one of the messages I got here.
Yeah.
Another texter says, Ryan and Lisa, please tell Massimo Segato that his grade 5 teacher, Adele Zanet Hatch, has fond memories of him in my class. I remember his grandmother making a delicious meal for our class and how Massimo stood out from everybody else. He was smart, respectful, and a gentleman. You got your grade 5 teacher texting in.
That's emotional. I completely remember Mrs. Hatch. She was a wonderful lady. I was lucky to have great teachers along the way. She was definitely one of them.
Oh, that's so cool. And I love the people who are sending this. Like, this is the thing about a family-run business like that. It's not just a place people like to shop. There's like this connection you get to a place. And I guess it goes two ways. It's not just like customers feeling attached to you and your family. I'm sure you've got that going the other way too.
Oh, 100%. That's what makes owning a business downtown and a family-owned business special is you form relationships. You get to see families grow. As our families grow, I've gotten to see other people's families grow as well. So we've really grown together through the years. And again, it's community, and that's what it's about. It's about connecting with each other. It's not just about buying something. It's about the communication and the talk, the little stories along the way.
Now you mentioned right off the top about the sale. You sold the business. It was time, like your brother's going to be retiring. You yourself, you still got some time left in you, but there's the reason why you're selling. But how hard of a decision was that, given all we just talked about and all those connections and that family history? How much did you struggle with the decision, or was it just the right decision?
I think at the end of the day, you live with your decision, so it is the right decision, but never easy. We could have sold this 10 years from now, and it wouldn't have been easy, because you're leaving behind memories. You're leaving behind your childhood. The memories of our parents when we worked side by side all together. That would never change. Doesn't matter when you're going to change that, and your relationships with all the customers. So at the end of the day, though, you make a decision, and you live with it, and when you decide it's the right decision, you move on. But there'll never be a perfect time, and you'll always miss aspects along the way, regardless of when that's going to happen.
Do you have any final messages you'd like to send out to Victoria right here on the airwaves as you get ready to check out? I guess you're there for the week, right? So people can still come in and say hi and see you. But anything you want to say to people right now over the airwaves?
Yes. So a sincere thank you to everyone. We absolutely loved being able to serve the public, and we appreciate all the love that we got in return from Victoria. And without all of you, we don't survive. We don't exist. So as much as we've done our thing, it's really Victoria that made us who we are.
And people can come see you this week?
Absolutely. My brother and I are both here till Saturday, so please come in, say hello, buy a sandwich, and we're here with smiles and ready to greet you.
Well, thank you so much. That is Massimo Segato with the Italian Deli. It's for sale. It's sold, but it's going to keep on going as it is. But it's the end of the road for the brothers. Thank you so much, and good luck.
Thank you.
And that's it for me today. Lots to come on CFAX, though. Lisa's got your 9 o'clock news next.